Yes, good people. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. I hope you're all doing well. And please, if you're watching, please do let me know if you can hear me quite clearly. Had a bit of multiple issues, but we solved all of them, I believe. And Liam Lane, if you're watching, also just remember I will continue to pray for you. Much love to you, brother. Again, I miss you, but more importantly, you should get well first. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. You live. We have quite a few stuff to talk about today, but this is more of more of the topic we had scheduled. I think 2 days ago, but because I had an internet connection issue. But we will revisit that the particular topic and also discuss some of the topics that those that are members of the channel may bring up, and some of you that aren't members will also discuss the topics that you will bring up. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, welcome to another Blue Morning Show. I think the internet looks like it's better today. Happy. Thank you so much again once more for joining the show. Let's see what we have in the chart already. Not too many stuff. Kashawn, the New York guy. I'm sure this the response here was from again 2 days ago when the show was initially scheduled to hold, but we couldn't due to bad internet connection. But big up, Kashawn. Nice to see you. Here we have again Ofosu Felix saying Sak Aporta. I'm guessing you're an African. My African brother, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. And if you're watching, if you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, thank you so much. Sack him immediately. That's the direction everybody's going. Nobody wants to give the man a chance anymore. I was one of his biggest supporters, one of those that argued that the man should be given time. And for those that argued that he hasn't won anything, I've always told them that's the first for everything. And I use again examples of all the managers telling them how they weren't born with the trophies they won. They had to earn it. They worked for it, and Potter should be given a chance to win one. But I don't think Chelsea is the club where you let a manager learn on the go. It's very, very risky. It's dangerous. We don't want that to happen to our club. So I will start with a few of the topic here. Let's see what we have here. Okay, I see somebody responding to one of my again tweets. Let me see what we have here. Oh, tweets again. That's a response to the tweet show tweet. He says again, Potter should be sacked before the Dortmund game. What's the point of sacking him after when he could try to win that when he could try to win that game with him in charge? We'll lose. Here's the thing. I'm concerned that okay, let's say we give him time now and he wins the next two games and then stays. We don't know what's going to happen next. There's no guarantee things will be okay after him winning two games. To me, I'd argue that I've seen enough to say enough is enough, really. It's a huge risk, even if he wins the next three games. Even if he ends up winning the next five games, it's still a huge risk. We've seen enough to know that it's a huge risk, really. Two games next again. It, I'm concerned. I don't know what else to say about that. Let's start talking about the topic we have lined up here. I think some of them you might have heard about. I don't want to start with that one. I want to start with this one in particular here. Has gone blank. Apologies for that. Let's see what that comes on. Yeah, this one makes me happy. I remember the last time we talked about this. We talked about Levi Colwell here. I was seriously concerned because he's a player I like so much and would want the club to keep him at all costs. Again, a few weeks ago, yep, 3 weeks ago. So we heard that the club they've started talks. They've started stay at the club, and that makes me happy. He's a talent. I never actually wanted him to go out on loan, but we were desperate for Mark Cucurella at the time we let him join Brighton on loan. That we had to do that. Yeah, I wasn't happy when his team in the playoffs they didn't make it to the Premier League, and you could say they were unlucky because it was bad officiating. By the way, I saw that game down to bad officiating. If you want to I see it like that, and I wanted them to make it to the Premier League because it would have been easier to just tell them, okay, you know what, you made it to the Premier League with your team, you stay with them, play a season with them, and then you join us. It would have been easier, and he would have, you know, had an excellent. I think you could argue would have had an excellent season with them, and then join us already. So now they didn't going out on loan. I didn't really like that, but fortunately for him, he got a chance to become a starter for them, and he was doing excellent until that unfortunate injury to him. It's a setback, but I think we've seen enough, and I believe the club has also seen enough to recognize he's a baller, as again most people that like football would like to put it. So it only makes sense that we'll keep him and not let him stay there permanently. But out of desperation, we decided to let him leave on loan. I would have kept him because you'd argue, I think, in the left centre back position, he would have done better than Cucurella for us on occasions where Cucurella have played in that position. We have Badiashile now. I think he should be next season. We should be planning on making him the second, not second choice, a rotating left centre back player at the club. Again, if you're watching people, if you don't mind, again, if you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. We have 21 likes already, and that makes me happy. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. The likes to go along with Sack Potter now. He is making the new players look bad. I think during the evening show called the daily roundup show, we somebody made us the new players look bad. But I wouldn't say he's the reason why Enzo broke the record. Again, you could say has the record as the player that has been dribbled past the most in all of Europe. I don't blame him because he's been taxed. Again, he's been taxed with being the more defensive of all the players he's been paired with. And he's, to me, no matter how you see it, he's not a defensive midfielder. He's a deep lying midfielder who likes to operate from operating from deep, but not when you pair him with anybody else. You task him again of the two players. You're taking so much away from him. Enzo likes to play. He likes to play with more independence. Again, if you pair him with anybody, either Kovacic, N'Golo Kante, whoever you pair him with, he prefers being the one with the license to be more adventurous because he can create good goals on his day. He can also score good goals on his day. Yes, he can be defensive, but he's not that defensively strong enough to be a midfielder. So I wouldn't deploying him again, tasking him with being the more disciplined of the two sixes. It doesn't make any sort of sense. He needs to have the freedom to be more adventurous, if that makes sense. Again, Levi Colwell and Fofana in the back would be amazing. I think we're loaded in the defensive area. You can say we have Levi Colwell, we have Benoit Badiashile, we have Wesley Fofana. Koulibaly, you just have to count him. We still have Thiago Silva, but unfortunately he's injured. And we still have Ian Matson. That is, if we're able to convince Matson to extend, because he's doing really well under was the former Belgium international and former Manchester City defender, Vincent Company. He's doing really well under Vincent Company. So if we can convince him to extend and stay with us, I think, yeah, you could say we don't need to even look at the possibility of signing Josko Vadio. I think we're loaded in the defensive area. If anything, I would advise we look for a very solid central attacking midfielder because that's the area we have a problem. If you ask me, we've been able to create chances mainly from the flanks. We've been able to create a chance again, chances from the central area only since Enzo joined us. But before he joined us, we hardly create chances from the central area. All of our chances in the previous chances we created previously all came from the flanks and mainly on the carpet, and that is very predictable. So we need to sign a central attacking midfielder that's capable of creating chances from the central area, which will help us diversify our chance creations, which means it will be difficult to stop us. If you get, which means we can create from the flanks and from the central area, and no matter how the opposition defends, whether they defend deep, whether they defend with a high line, which will still be able to create a clear-cut chances because our chance creations will be diversified. If that makes sense. Here we have Potter didn't see that he sold to Jinho now. We played two number 8 again as defensive midfielders. Again, I'm confused as to with the situation and the way things are going at the club. I'm not just going on, but one point I really want to talk about again that he makes the new again the situation. Let me not just say it's not because everything isn't down. You cannot argue that everything is Potter's fault. No, that's not the case. We have to be truthful here. But you can say because the whole team is playing bad. You can say a lot of the players are playing bad, so it trickles down to everybody in the team, and that's natural. When the team as a unit isn't playing well, even the best player on the team looks bad. In the last game, at one point, you could say, what's his name? João Felix. João Felix, that's how he said his name is pronounced. I have to look at that again. Again, he was playing as if he was confused. If that makes sense. But that's, by the way, this year says, big up everyone. Big up to you too, Regine Nalty. Much love to you. I appreciate always seeing you. I think, again, you've shown so much love to this channel, and I appreciate you doing that. Hopefully, I'll find a way to pay you back. Nothing future, nothing special. Another overhyped player, at least. I'd like it. I'd like it if you say something like that. Say in your opinion. That is your opinion. To me, I think he's a special player. I think he's a good player. All I want him is just. I pray that he stays fit. Play again. Have a few run of games. I think that's when we start to see how good Wesley Fofana can be. But he's been quite unlucky with the injuries. 2 now since he joined Chelsea. So I'm concerned about his fitness. I'm not concerned about his ball playing ability because he's a good defender and a good carrier of the ball. I don't care about academy values because we cannot produce nothing except again Rhys James, and I am tired of that thing. When I saw Baka again, okay, let's see. Logan says hi guys again. The logical way is to sack Potter and use the rest of the season as a preseason for a new coach. I don't understand when these owners is what these owners expect from Graham Potter. Here's the thing: we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. No matter how we say it, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. The truth is, we don't know whether they've already started searching for managers because you can't sack the manager if you don't find one. We don't know. We don't really know whether they're really trying to see him succeed because they have him on a long-term contract, 5 year. I heard, and it's going to be an expensive decision if they decide to sack the manager today. So we don't know what the case is. We're just basing our judgment off of what we're getting from the media, and there's no way telling that everything they're telling us is the truth. As much as a lot of people, if you put out a poll, anywhere, whatever you like, go put up the poll, you see majority of the fan base want him gone. And what exemplifies that, or you could say, what shows you that that's really the case is, let me see, I don't know how many, let me check if I can see that now. The petition that was started a few days ago demanding that Graham Potter be sacked tells you everything you need to know about how the fan base feel about the man. Probably, I think it should be close. It should be close to 60,000 signatures right now. As at the time I did the short video with regards to the situation, they've garnered around they've garnered around 40,000 signatures. And this right now, I think it'd be more. Let me share that with you. Let's see. It's still loading, but I think it makes sense. Let me share that with you. If you look at it together, yeah, it's concerning really. Again, it's garnered 46,000. 262 signatures. Yeah, and counting. As you're looking at it, you can see it even growing. That shows you again more of the fan base want him to go. Even those that were again some of his supporters have given up due to poor results. Had he won a few games in between these 16, 17 games that we've had these issues with, I think he'd still have more supporters, but he's lost a few. But that's, by the way, we're moving from that. Chelsea could be a strong team with a good coach, even without buying more players for next season. Yeah, like I've always said, you can argue all you like, present the argument with regards to new players, present the argument with, again, with regards to how many players we have out injured. Here's the thing, something I want you to look into. We're worse off than we were when we had more players out. So that will show you that something isn't quite right. Yeah, we're doing worse than we did when we had nearly a village of players out injured. Now what that we have more players available to the manager, our situation seems to have worsened. We regressed even further than what you argue before now that we should be better off. We should be doing better once we have more players in the back from injury. It turns out that isn't the case. It turns out our situation has actually gotten worse. And that's probably because maybe the situation, again, we found ourselves in when we had a lot of players out injured has hit the confidence of the players, or maybe the confidence of the manager. If you want to see it that way, to me, in the case of the manager, I'd say probably the pressure has started impairing his judgment. He doesn't think straight now. That's how I see it, because stress can impair your judgment, if that makes sense. But that's, by the way, Chelsea, again, I've read that one. And thank you so much for all the delicious contributions I always see from you, Logan. I appreciate that. And you're a very, very valuable member of this community. And if you're watching, remember, guys, we've launched a membership again with a few with some benefit. You can request a shout out to a family member for a birthday or a friend. And also, when we have a lot of people in the chat, once we see your contribution, no matter the size of people we have in the chat, we will contribution. If it's a question, the panelists will answer it. If it's something that needs analyzing, the panelists will analyze it. So again, thank you so much for all that. If you become a member, it's the membership 99 cents. Again, if you cannot afford it, fine. You're still a valuable member, and we'll still try the best I can to get your contributions in the chart. Have I read that one? I think I've read that one. Potter has 60 million reasons argument there, and it makes sense. Something, but I don't think it's that sort of person. His statement that he had out last week or so, or towards the end of last week, showed again truly he's suffering. He's not happy that we're not doing well, because his reputation will take a hit no matter how you see it. If he's, I don't think he gets 60. I don't think he gets 60 million, because we're learning there's a clause on his contract also, which will I'm quite sure which will be a construct of his, again, how he performs or how well the team does. I think those things will define that clause in question. I don't see them just signing a contract that they end up giving them 60 million for the sake of it. I think there'll be something there that says if we give you time, and if the team starts underperforming to a certain measure, you're not going to get this. But if we decide to let you go, whereas the team is doing well, then you get this, because they're not stupid. And that is one mistake I think they will never make again, giving a manager a long-term contract, if that makes sense. This year, saying he can sack Tuchel, but cannot sack Potter. Unbelievable, because sacking Tuchel was easy. It wasn't this expensive. But sacking Graham Potter will be an expensive decision. So they're waiting it out to see if it's going to work, or if it's really not going to work. If in fact, because for the fact that he has more players available to him, maybe he's not doing well. And there's a chance also they've already decided they're going to let him go. We don't know. None of us sits at the table when they have discussions on what to do and what not to do. So we're just speculating if that, if that makes sense to you. Big up Kachila, Bills CFC. Nice to see you here. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm doing well, brother. I can't complain. Nick Blue, again said, can you unblock him? He wants to talk in the chat. Okay, I'll do that right now. If I try to do it on my screen again, we'll have an issue. I'll look at that after the show. Again, 2 wins in a 17. These players are not that bad. Again, Potter's in-game management and lineups are a disgrace. He keeps chopping and changing. He needs to go. The chopping and changing aspect of the whole thing is the least of my concern. But here's the thing: when he joined us, I think the first month, I really wanted him. I really wanted him to succeed. I was arguing that maybe he was trying to implement too much at the same time, which could be a problem. That can cause the players to be confused. But you have to take it gradually, just like Thomas Tuchel did. When Thomas Tuchel joined us, he started by fixing the defensive line and subsequent areas in the team. But in Potter's case, it just seemed as if he wants, again, to implement his preferred approach to football just like this. You can say that got the players confused. And what I think the problem is, again, to me, one more thing that that comes to mind is that it just doesn't seem as if it's pragmatic enough. Even if you're not, try to be a bit pragmatic. Get some wins. The wins will go a long way for the players. It doesn't matter how ugly. You can sit back, hit the opposition on a break. We have the pace to do so, but that comes down to a manager's tactical ability. But it doesn't seem like he's been able to do something like that. Get a win. A few wins here and there will give the players confidence that you know what you're doing. You can even tell them, we need to win, and I don't care how. Let's just win. Again, fight. Let it be dirty. Win. It doesn't have to pretty. It doesn't have to be pretty at all. Get a win here and there, then it will boost the confidence of the player. But unfortunately, it looks like it's a bit too late. In my opinion, it looks like, again, the players don't believe in him. Like, at least that's what I think. They don't trust him. Again, as a, you could say, his tactical instructions or so. I don't know how else to argue that. We know what we need to happen for Graham Potter. Graham Potter, would you say, again, we need a Leeds gaffer to replace him? Because if we bring in another yes man, the owners need to think wisely. Here's the thing. There's no way telling if he's really a yes man, or if everything is down to, again, him not knowing what he's doing. I don't know. There's no way telling. But if he's really a yes man manager, then he's ruined his reputation. What he achieved at Brighton doesn't matter at this point, even though it's still questionable because he had 31 win percentage. That's nothing. Chelsea shouldn't have hired him in the first place, given that percentage. But that's why we're moving from that. And there's no way telling what the problem is really. If we're going to sign bring in another manager, yeah, it has to be a manager with, you could say, with a good record of winning, of having managed big name players. Because if you're a Chelsea manager and we're signing big name players who's played on the match, that's been there, done that, and seen it all. If they come under Graham Potter, it won't take much for them to start questioning. If they come under, let's say, any manager that hasn't won much, it will not take too much for them to start questioning that manager's tactical ability, if that makes sense. You should notice, says Wesley Fofana, it's another back transfer. Always, and Delete didn't want to come to us. Did you ever consider that? Again, we cannot sign main target. Well, there's no. How do you know that Delete was our main target? Really, push out Thomas Tuchel and end again and end in relegation. Push out Thomas Tuchel and end in relegation means a Potter. Oh yeah. That again. How can always other big teams beat us for our main targets? I don't know. That's the question I cannot answer. And how do you know that Matisse Delete was our main target? I want to know. I'm trying to start my day off with positive vibes. Yes, please, let's not ruin it for you. Let's not ruin it for you. Again, if you're watching, people, if you haven't taken a second, drop a like on the stream. And please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you so much for all the support. I sincerely do appreciate that. Is there any positive touch to talk about? There's none, really. We're in that place where the elephant in the room is negativity, really, if that makes sense to you. Again, I think the players I feel like again they're being they're being mismanaged. That's why we're seeing in games they are frustrated. You can see, yeah, you can see their body language says something isn't quite right. Big up, bro. Again, it's hard to be positive after 2 wins in 17 games. Yeah, it's difficult to be like that. I am going to the game on Tuesday against Dortmund. I am excited, but at the same time, pissed off because we are in a bad form. Yep, it's concerning. What you think of Didier Drogba being our striker coach? A bit like how Man United got Kati, my South African brother. Respect to him as their striker coach. The question is, are you going to be able to pay Didier Drogba enough to forfeit his recent endeavors? I think he's involved in quite a lot, so probably I don't think we'll be able to pay him enough for him to come back to do that. I don't think it happens, but it would be a good idea if he can take the job. Do you think Borussia will play against Leeds United? I'd say too early. And that's how many days from now. I'd say too early, really. But I don't know. I am not in the training ground. We'll find out during the manager's press conference. We need members of the board that knows our club, or we need a manager at the moment that knows our club. And yeah, I get it. You can get an argument there. Let me say hello to my bro here. Enough respect to Zion. Big up, brother. But why, one, bro? I hope you're doing. Check out Zion's YouTube channel, Blue Clouds Media. Click the three dots to the right side of his name. Go to the click on go to channel. I'm going to say this again. His channel is one of the Chelsea community, but he covers all the clubs, Manchester United, all the clubs in the whole world that he can cover, and lots of excellent panelists there. You want to be part of the growth. You don't wait until he gets there before you become part of it. And yes, he's doing a nice job there. And what a story after a horrible accident. Again, but we prayed for him, and he stood strong. He's a strong man. He believes in higher power too. He's recovered in this. So go check it out. Be sure to subscribe and let him know I sent you. Big up, bro. Greetings again to all football fans. Big up to you, Kachila. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well, brother. You too. So I'll go back here a bit. Where did I stop? So I'm going to skip. If I read your comment, I'm going to skip your subsequent contributions to get to the very bottom. Morning, Kachila. Morning to you too. How are you doing, Santiago Muniz? I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for joining. Coach, even if Potter wins all these 3 games, he has to go. Everywhere you go on YouTube, again, or articles for Chelsea, it's only Potter. The fact that everything you read of late is only about Potter, that's not the reason why he goes. I think the owners, let me just say this. Let's talk about everything you read, everything you see. Whether they sit at the table with the owners and have conversation with them or not, the whole thing, if you look at them collectively, they've gone from being all positive for Graham Potter to being a more of negative. Again, more of negative stuff about Graham Potter. Even there are signs from what we read that the owners probably have, by now are beginning to say this to themselves that they've made a big mistake in hiring him and putting him on a long-term contract, because the length of the contract, you can argue, is one of the reasons why they haven't fired him by now. If that makes sense, it will be an expensive decision no matter how you see it. Maybe the situation hasn't got bad again, as bad as it, again, if they, as bad as if, how they have it on the contract. If it gets that bad, then they fire him without spending that much money, if that makes sense. But that's, by the way, nice to see you, bro. How have you been? I hope you're doing well. And the praise, big up to you, brother. How are you doing? Big up, family. It's been a while. Press the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. I feel like the Boehly on the job, but they cannot put things right if they bring in a late giver. But the truth is, who's available, and I don't know who's been willing to take the job. So again, I've read quite a few your stuff, bro. Again, be patient with me. Let me catch up with all this in the chat if you don't mind. Delete is overrated. Again, you slug it out with that bro there. Faded, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. I hope you're doing well, brother. Thank you so much. McKinney, Ian Matson, in a Chilwell out. I think if we decide, of which I know they would do, because Ian Matson has done quite well on under Vincent Company. If the club decides to bring him back, I think either Ben Chilwell or McAquarie will make way. I don't know who's likely to make way for him to be accommodated, because you have three centre backs and three left backs, so to speak, or wing backs if you prefer. But the truth remains, convincing Ian Matson to sign another, because his contract is winding down. It will be very difficult. You'd have to show him the path to the first team he wants to be playing, and he's playing day in, day out. What's the team he played for under Vincent Company? Now he's done quite well, and I wouldn't want us to bring him back and end up not giving him enough time to succeed. Greetings again. Again, I've read that from my bro. If there's centre backs that will be coming, it wouldn't make any sort of sense to sign any centre backs right now. I know it's overrated. Question is why players always pick up all the big teams instead of Chelsea. Okay. Graham Potter, wish it was up to me. I think it was up to me, he'd be gone by now. Even though I feel from him, I do feel for him. He's a human being, first of all. That's why you don't see me calling him names, and that's why I don't condone people calling him names. Listen, I judge him based on the job he's doing. As an individual, I think he's a nice person, but the fact remains there's more to being a manager than being a nice person. And also there's a big difference from being a manager compared to being a good tactician. Those are two differences. And I want to see the players pick a Chelsea instead of Bayern, Real. Yeah, but we have to get to that level first. Losing to Southampton, Tottenham, plus not being a Newcastle, not beating Newcastle is shocking. I agree with you, PSG. Great to see you, my brother. The Prince again. Here's me saying hello to you. People, okay, people do go to the money, but you have to overpay sometimes. And Sean, the New York guy, it says again, Jean Felix was the main target too. Oh yeah, they targeted him, and at one point during the game he got confused. No, yeah, he was the main target in terms of signs. Yep. Let's see what else we have here. Greetings to you too, Walter Moregbe. I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for finding the time to join us. And we'll see if we eventually wait until we lose to both BVB, that's Borussia Dortmund, Leeds, and Leicester City before firing Potter, we may find ourselves fighting for relegation. Here's the thing: whether you like it or not, I think we're already in a relegation battle. It's as simple as that. Technically, we're already in a relegation battle. Why do I say that? Because if you're fighting not to be in a relegation battle, what are you fighting for? Technically, you're in a relegation fight, if that makes sense. But hopefully it doesn't get worse for us. Viral, now I hope again we'll lose these games. Potter out, man. I get your argument, but I would not for any reason hope that my team lose a game because I want the manager out. No. I believe the owners have seen enough to know that he's even the man for the job, if that makes sense. And I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and then try to get your subsequent contributions. And Viral, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Kishan, the New York guy, we've got the most targeted man in Europe. Yep, you slug it out. We didn't Mudryk him for the money. Instead, again, we should have gone for Leao. I know people argue that. I think Mudryk will come good. Remember, he's a bit rusty. He hasn't played football for months due to the conflict in his country. Leao is a baller. I agree with you, but we probably pulled out of our pursuit. We did decide to forfeit our pursuit of Leao because he emerged that he was on the verge of signing a new contract at AC Milan, and that rumor has re-emerged again. I think he ends up staying at Milan. I don't think he wants to leave. Thank you, your community. Much love to you too, brother. Let's see what we have here. I believe this game have been looking. I believe this regime have been looking for an alternative since Southampton. Yeah, they're not going to say we want to fire the manager. It'd be stupid. He's still here. If you say that, what do you think happens? If anything, here's the thing: you can say even if they're looking for someone else, they're not going to tell you that. They want him at least to get a few results, even if they decide, they say, oh, there's also a chance they want to keep him. They really want to support him and keep him. But right now, it's not looking good for him because everything we're hearing is not looking good. And for that to be out in the media adds pressure on the man, if that makes sense. Bellingham is now main target for big teams Okay, and you don't count as a big teams. Liao is a baller and finisher. Mudrik and Felix have bad shots. If that's how you say it, that's up to you. Big up to my brother, the Blue. Typical game. Nice to see you, bro. Pop, 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 pop. Much respect to you. Big up, just saying hello to Blue Clouds Media. Big up, coach. If it wasn't for Tuchel points at the start of the season, we would be again in the relegation zone. It is concerning, but what my point is this: no matter how you say it, we are already fighting for it again to stay alive. Because if we're fighting not to get involved in the relegation battle, technically we're in a relegation fight, no matter how you see it. Mr. Polito Wade, bro, I haven't seen you in a while. Please to let me know that you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. He says owners are setting excuses sublimely. They are saying if this, that, and thought again. Let me read that again. Sublimely, subliminally, so to speak, subliminally, they're saying if these, that, and third are fine. Again, we would be winning, but that end of football, again, it's never perfect. You need to grind out results sometimes. It doesn't have to be beautiful. That's why again something that Graham Potter hasn't done that I think is custom problems. Be a bit more proactive. Just get win. It doesn't have to be nice. Get a win. It will go a long way for you and your players. Right now, I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and I'll try to get your subsequent contributions. Big up to you all. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. And my bro here says, and guys, again, please, 84 watching for only 36 likes. We're doing better than that. Yep, tell them, bro. Tell them quickly. 99 people watching right now. We should have more than 50 likes. We have just 49 likes, but that's by the way. Let me bring in Roger Pop. Roger, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing
Hola, senor. I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
well. To you too, brother. I didn't hear from you yesterday. Sorry I didn't reach out to know how you're doing. Apologies. Maybe we're kind of still fighting a little bit.
No.
That's why I didn't check up on you. But that's by the way, bro. Much love. You know, it's all love. Those things happen. That's why we have the show.
I'm cool.
Roger,
I'm cool,
from you, your thoughts on where we're at. Again, my argument is that at one point, you can say a week ago or so, it was all positive for Graham Potter. But right now, you can sense it's not all positive. If anything, it's become more negative. And you can say the pressure is getting to him, his demeanor and the way he speaks. Again, that's my opinion. But let me get your thoughts. What do you think?
No, I don't see it. I've watched every one of his press conferences and post press conferences on different channels like the BBC, Sky, and so forth, and even on trying to think NBC, Peacock. So I don't see that. In fact, he interjects humor in some of his things. Listen, I've said this from day one. You know, once the window closed, the transfer window closed, which was when February the 1st it closed, correct?
No, I closed again January.
February 1st it closed, right?
Oh, did he? Yeah,
I think it was January 31st was the last day.
Yeah,
so
for some countries.
Yeah, I'm talking about for the Premier League though.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games into the. When I said this would be the start of his season, so he's played 5 games, right, Coach? And a lot of them, you've got. Well, there's I don't know. So I'm looking at like people like Man United. You know, Casemiro was out, and that I think he's Danish midfielder was out, and people are screaming, saying like, "Well, United that they've got injuries." I'm like, and so do we, Coach. It's by the way, this is bad news that we're missing Silva. This is not good news at all.
As the situation gets worse in his absence, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours, Coach. You know, and it's a monsoon for him. You know, there's this one stat. I don't know what channel you were listening to, but I think it was Sky that was broadcasting the game against Tottenham, and it was the second half. And I think they just had one shot in the second half in the first 5 minutes or so. And they said in the last 5.5 games, they had 77 shots. So I think it ends up in 6 games. It's 83 shots, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, if my math isn't mistaken. And so you're looking at players that are shooting right down the pipeline to the keeper. You're hitting the bar. You can talk about tactics, you can talk about formations, you can talk about substitutes. But I listen to a few former professional players that have played at the very highest, excuse me, I apologize,
Hmm. Bless
international
you.
level. And you know what they all said? They all said that a coach has nothing to do with a person shooting or headering or whatever. Yes, of
We
course
don't
you
even
can.
need them to tell us that. Do you agree?
No, well, yeah, but no, because the actual conversation that we're having was
Hmm.
like, well, Potter has an influence, and a couple of the players they said they all agreed was, I beg your pardon, coughing, was the fact that listen, whether it's a negative or positive for the players that their shooting or lack thereof, being clinical, has nothing to do. Potter has nothing to do with them shooting because they've done that since they were children, and they're just collectively they're out of form. If you have a look at that Tottenham game, you looked at like 2 or 3 times you were half a step away from scoring, and there was a beautiful pass from Endo to I think it was João Felix, and if you notice, he just missed the ball. It was like the 16th or 17th minute, and you have what's his face? You have Sterling at the far post, and he was going to cross it to him. It's the little things. When a team is struggling, it's the fine margins of things that turn a game around. And when you see teams that are, let's say, getting relegated, what separates them? Yes, you can have inferior players, but what differentiates them from teams that just avoid relegation, for instance, or promotion, depending on what division you're in, is these fine margins when you don't get penalty calls or you don't get, you're half a step too slow, etc. It's these small margins that separate you from losing a game to drawing or drawing a game to winning, etc. Does that make sense? And it's these fine margins that we're seeing right now. 1 out of 83 shots have been scored is an atrocious percentage. You're looking at like one and a something percent. I think that's really poor. You know, and I've heard people saying that João Felix has never been a clinical scorer. Okay, that's fine. He hasn't been, and you can't really judge him where he's come from. From Athletic Madrid because he's been used in a very, shall we say, defensive alignment. So I get that, but we've never been that prolific historically the last 5 or so years, and so it's like let's say we get a new manager next week or whenever. Are we going to be a proficient scoring team? Because this game is all determined about do you score more than you concede? This is fundamentally what the game's all about. No matter how intricate you can be as a head coach, like with a Pep, or shall we say, and I mean this politely, as fundamental and as basic as you can be with a Sam Allardyce, as in just kicking the ball long. No disrespect to him. Do you see what I'm saying? Um, so that's what I see. I see us like okay. So when you see us lately, do you ever get the feeling that we're going to score? I don't. I have no faith in us scoring, and it's not just from the forwards. It's
And just
from
quickly, I don't mean to cut you off. And
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
changing a manager can change that?
So that's what I was talking about, and that's what the professionals were talking about. It's like a coach. You change the coach, and it has nothing to do with these players scoring or not scoring, as the case may be. Do you understand? It's like, and I used this example before with Gareth Bale scoring that amazing overhead kick in the final. I think it was against Liverpool, but I could be mistaken. And you know what? Graham Potter could have been his coach. So does that mean he should take credit? No, it's the player's ability to be true athletic ability in this case. Do you understand? To score a, for all intents and purposes, a worldie. Does that make sense? Yeah, I know these are, shall we say, God-given athletes. They have amazing speed, usually size, strength, etc., etc. But and yes, I do realise that a coach slash coaching staff slash manager, however you want to term it, they do impart a lot of importance on a team, with how they set up and substitutions, etc., and the choosing formation and the choosing players and building that chemistry. But when it comes to the fundamentals about scoring or not scoring, that isn't on the manager, that's on the players, coach. And I'm not
Okay.
talking about just the front people, I'm talking about the back. Have a look for the last year and a half, 2 years. Seldom do we score from the back like we used to 5-10 years ago. We're not prolific.
Let me try again. I agree with you in terms of goal scoring. It takes the whole department in a team scoring goals to win trophies. The defense, the
Yeah,
midfield,
yeah.
the wingers, however you want to phrase it.
With
But
the
here's the
exception of the
thing.
keeper.
Even goalkeepers sometimes.
Yeah.
We've seen goalkeepers do that. Here's the thing. What I want to say, of course, before I continue, if anything, you haven't lost your job as Potter's lawyer. If anything, he paid you more. I'm just kidding. But that's, by the way, here's the thing, what I want to say. Even the goal scoring, there's a way we can find a way to still link into the manager not doing enough to correct that. But that's the least
But
of my
how,
problem.
coach?
I'm
How?
looking. No, no, I'm coming. I'm coming. Let me
Sure.
drop. I'm looking beyond the goal scoring issues. Actually, that's the least of my concerns. There
But
are
it
other
should be the
aspects that
main
show.
concern,
For instance,
coach.
one thing again is our behavior of the ball. It has improved a little bit. Again, the last game we pressed as a unit. But before then, you would see a single individual running, going after the man with the ball, and the others would just be pedestrians on the pitch and not trying to cut off pass and lane. So, but when you talk about the goal scoring opportunity, missing chances like that can come down to players not being confident. And
Yeah,
you can say when that's happening, the
sure.
manager can help boost again, talk sense if that makes sense. But I really want us to move on from that. But I get where you're coming from, and I know no matter what happens, I will never change your mind. If that makes sense. I'm going to catch up with what we have in the chat. I'm going to bring Bobby in to see what he has to say with the
Hola,
situation
Bobby.
overall. I cannot understand how a data-driven ownership cannot see the real data that matters. Two wins in 15 games, or 4 goals
15
scored in
now.
4 months. Bottom of goal scored in all 4 English leagues. Wow, that number is really again. It's concerning. I test also. Here's the thing. Beyond that, I think there are other aspects. You just, if we're being honest, as much as I think this should be enough for the club, again, for the ownership to be really concerned, I think we are, because we're concerned and because emotions are high, we're cherry picking. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very really, and it's
Coach,
enough for a manager
you're
to lose.
freezing, coach.
Sorry.
You froze. I didn't hear you.
Now I'm saying, as much as I want us to look for another manager at this point, given these numbers and what the Gabriel A has on the screen, I'd still say there's more to it. They've been looking, in terms of numbers, they've been looking at more. They've been looking, considering the fact he had players in out. I think so. They said that on occasion. They're looking at the fact they signed new players, but I think we should be doing better. And if I were to be part of that board, I'd be arguing he's not the man. But that's me, and that's, by the way. Let me catch up with a
Sure.
bit of what we have in the chat, so I'll come back to Bobby. So thank you for that comment right there. Yeah, I know, but again, that's talking about Habat. Let's see what we have here. A big up from Ireland. Is that how you pronounce it? Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I pronounced it correctly. Francis Winters, I haven't seen you in a while. More importantly, I hope you're doing well. And the New York guy, we rely on our defenders too much to create chances. It's shameful, really. I think our defenders has actually created quite a few chances for us, rather than our midfielders doing that, or the attacking players closer to the final third doing that. But it's not a bad thing. But I think the final third should be doing more, and the wingers too. One thing is for sure, and that is Havertz isn't the answer. All up front, he's a 10, but lacks a creativity. Some argument right there that Havertz isn't a threat when he has the ball. Havertz need to go back again to Bundesliga. I'm going to be reading all those things. Ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, we have Kuchila, and in the red corner, we have Roger Pop. Notice how Roger is in the red corner. Again, enough said.
I got it.
Yeah, postpone the fight. Just postpone it for another day. Doesn't buy Leao, buy Nkunku and Osimhen, sell Havertz, Borussia. Wow, Kepa, Aspilicueta, loves cheek. Keep going if you want to. But as you can, do you think the players on this team have the ability to press? It does. It doesn't seem like that. Here's one thing. I don't know if Roger will agree, but in terms of how players are pressed, it comes down to the drills.
Yeah.
It comes down to a training ground drill. No matter how, even if you have the worst player that can press, it comes down to the drill and the manager's demand. And if you drill them to do so, to press as a unit, and they're not doing it, it's your job to take off whoever is not participating. Because our behavior off the ball concerns me quite a lot. I'm going to go to Bobby, and I'll be highlighting your subsequent contributions. Let me see just quickly. Let me read this. I'll come back to this one and highlight it. Something here from my bro, Bobby Fairview. This one right here. It says, blessings on the argument makes sense. If he puts strikers on the pitch, if he puts all hybrids on the pitch, guess what? Guess whose fault is it? It is when they miss. I'm not going to be the one to respond to that. Big up to JC. I'll get all your comments in the beef. Just quickly here again. Adjust the table for TT's points, and we in the bottom three. In the meantime, while Boehly is suiting his ego, the players' confidence continue to get decimated. I think I'll have again the panelists speak on that when I get to it, but I have to go back up because I skipped a few comments to get that. Bobby, coming to you, your thoughts on the situation right now. We didn't have much to talk about because this particular show was scheduled for 2 days ago. So I had to postpone it till today. So mainly the topic we're discussing are topics raised by those in the chat. But your thoughts on the Potter situation, I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, big up, guys.
Big up to you too, brother.
I'm beginning to feel like an old broken vinyl record.
Mm-hmm.
To me, look, we're forced now to deliberate on the blatantly obvious. There are, we know why we've got to this point. We know all the issues around the sale of the club and the purchase of the club and the buying of players and the fact that we didn't really have a preseason in the summer. We were kind of set up for this problem, and now people are looking at us as if we've been running like everybody else on the same playing field. We haven't. We've been quite badly sabotaged, and we've been trying to just find our feet ever since. Added to that, there's been a measure of self-sabotage. The issues around Rudiger, getting rid of Kurt Zuma, purchasing Lukaku. These were self-sabotaging things. And all these things cumulatively have impacted upon what's going on now. A mistake has been made by people that have been rushed into football, have a vision, and have every good intention with how to execute the vision. Trouble is, when you're building, sometimes you have hiccups along the way, and things may become a bit of a setback, and you have to reset and alter things. What seems very, very, very clear to me is that this idea of bringing in wholesale Brighton's coaching staff into Chelsea is not right. I think it's gone wrong terribly. I think it is a fundamental reason as to what's going on now. Yes, there have been players that have been injured. Yes, there have been players off form, yada, yada, yada. We keep making up the excuses. But fundamentally, if you're not using your players correctly, you're not going to get them to perform well. And they're not being used correctly. If you look at matches, the tactics are wrong. Often the personnel changes are wrong. You look at the Spurs game. We could have played 360 minutes and probably not scored because they were comfortable in defense. We attack slowly. We don't vary. We have no variation. We attack with too few numbers because we are slow at recovery for the counter attack. The team doesn't look rehearsed. The team doesn't look like they do anything on the training ground at all. Thomas Tuchel taught us one thing, all these time merchants, is that you can walk into a team, have an idea of what the problem is before you get there, and start to execute the issues. He came off the plane on in one day and managed to perform well with the draw against Wolves. He hadn't even gone into his locker room when he took over the team. From there on in, he had a structure, an idea, and a plan of execution with the little he knew about the players before he took over the team. Now, did this guy have time to know about Chelsea players? Probably not, because he was, involved with Brighton. But there's been enough time now for him to understand that how to use what he's got. If he has a plan in the first place, he has no plan of execution. It's all, guesswork. Let's wait for this player to turn it around for us. He's looking to the players rather than have the players look to him. It's sad, it's not really what any of us wanted. We wanted to dream and have him be this wonderful manager for us and do these wonderful things. But the reality is that he's not. And the reality is that it's time for a change. The reality is that the ownership, the Christopher Vivels and so on, need to scour around, talk to people, look for people with pedigree who have been there, seen it, done it, bring them in, bring back Chelsea supporting cast to whatever coaching team comes in. You've got to have your maybe John Terry's in the coaching staff and the like. You need Chelsea people. You don't wholesale bring all sorts of different people into a club without them really understanding the DNA of the club, and that's what really pushes you onto a winning formula. That DNA, that ability to galvanize players using those players within the team that already understand the club. It's testimony to how bad things are that we've had to play Enzo game in, game out. No respite, no
Yeah.
pause. Since ink was dried on his contract, he's just come in and started playing. He hasn't even had time to look around his environment and take in where he is and get to understand where he is. We're just playing these people. Modric, oh, come in straight away. Yeah, it's good to come in straight away, but I don't expect him to be ripping up threes straight away. There needs to be players already incumbent in the team to help consolidate them. And I go back to the fan base. We do a lot of, we have a reasoning which baffles me to this day. We look at our best, most solid players, our most committed players, and want them to be sold. It makes no sense. If the player is not good at all, yes, I can understand it. But when you look at a player like Kai Havertz that fights and struggles every game, despite not being played in his position, you're talking about him being sold. And even in his position, he offers something because without him, there would absolutely be nothing. Fans are phoning up, get rid of Havertz, get rid of Havertz. They're insane, as far as I'm concerned. Yet again, I look to someone like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who is a massive utility player for us. The number of times Ruben has come in and plugged the gaps needed for physicality, needed for some measure of a midfield. And now you want to get rid of him for what? For who? To do what? To be left where? With thank goodness most of our fans aren't coaches, because the team will be weaker and in bigger trouble than it is now. I don't know. Personally, I would pull the trigger now. I wouldn't wait until Leeds or Dortmund or anything. I would just pull the trigger now and get Neil Bath to take over the team temporarily. It's sad, but it needs to start again. I understand their hesitation. I understand their concern, because they've made a wholesale change. There's nobody they can even turn to take over should Potter and his crew go, because his crew are the coaching staff. They're completely taking it over. There's no one else.
Yeah.
So that's partly why they're hesitating. But
All right.
go
Go
he must.
ahead if you haven't landed.
So I was just saying, go he must. He has to go. And we have to realize that at this point in time, he was the wrong man for the job. They made a colossal mistake by getting rid of Thomas Tuchel. I know they're embarrassed to admit it, but it was a mistake. Now, would they go cap in hand and call him back? It's unlikely. I wish they would, but it's very unlikely. Going forward, they must look to those that are capable of doing this. And unfortunately, that's your Enriques of this world, your Hansi Flicks of this world, and so on. And they're going to cost even more money, because now you've got to negotiate with them halfway through a season. They're going to want insurances and so on. It's a big mess. It's a fixable mess, but it's a big mess.
All right, thank you so much. Please, if you're watching, I see somebody say, "What's the background noise?" If you can hear any noise, Roger, is the sound okay?
Yeah, there was a lot of static. I'm not sure where it was coming from.
But is it
If
gone now?
yes, it has.
Okay, I'm not hearing it from my end, but I had to do something to have to plug off the move an electronic away from the
Bobby,
hub.
are you muted, Bob?
Yeah, I
Bobby?
was muted.
But no, it's still there's no static now, so it's not you. So I'm not sure what it was. It was
Okay, okay. Shaq says
EMI
we
maybe,
will score if the foot. Sorry.
maybe electromagnetic interference.
Yeah, so that's why I had to move something away from the hub. We
Gotcha.
will score if the football is more direct and winning is drilled into the team. And Eugene, can we play with Ziyech in a 10? Felix up front and the players. The topic now, you guys know what we're talking about right now. Brighton could not score under Potter. The comparison there was, you can say, it was. It was huge to compare the two teams when he was at 23 games in total and 23 games there too. But that's by the way. Hi, Coach. Hi, Jesse. You're on the panel. I'll get to you in a beat. But Jesse says here, so the scoring rate is totally not dependent on manager. That's inaccurate. Okay, that's you responding to what he said. I've read this comment before to what Roger said. I've read that comment there. So let me try and get subsequent comments in the chat. Just one second. I'll come back to you guys. Almost all the new all the new players are not happy with the manager. How do you know that? I want you to tell us how you got to know that. I really want to know. I read somewhat again, but I cannot remember. Okay. With all our possession, I'd like to see more shots outside the box. 18 outside the 18-yard box. We bog our offense down, trying to pass to a 9 that doesn't exist. Chifudo says that Potter has to go. The boys are not playing for him. What can the boys learn from him? Let us boycott all the games and leave him and his manager in an open stadium. We spending our money going to the games. I don't think that would be the reason why they decide, you know what, it's time to go. And achieving that actually is you'll be able to again learn how to create Again, a space rocket before that happens, really getting everybody to boycott the game. Just at the table for TT. Okay, I've read that one too. What happened to the guy from New Zealand? It's not going. It's not going to work. Boys are not. Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know if the guy has started work. I'm not sure. Kachila, I'm quite enjoying this store next to my handle. Thanks for setting up the membership group. More thanks to you for becoming a member. And again, if you cannot afford it, you don't have to. If you can afford it, it's $2.99. And if you become a member, even if you have 1 million people in the chat and you put something there, as long as it's aligned with what's being discussed, highlighted so that the panelists can discuss it. Plus, it helps us put a plan into motion to support students every month. I really, really do want to do that. Todd needs to swallow his pride and admit his blunder before we are in the relegation battle. Like I've said this before, technically, since we're concerned, since we'll be playing not to even get into that fight, technically we're in the relegation battle already. That's how I see it. This rebuild is a spectacular own goal. Stevie Wonder saw it coming from the time they started lecturing people on how to use data in game. That is not nice, man. Potter's plan was to make sorry, let me see this one again. Potter's plan was to make everyone happy. Potter, okay, let me see what you're saying there. Let's see what we have here. Sacking Potter costs a lot of money, and that's why it's not that easy. Costs a lot of money, but keeping him costs more. Some argument right there. I haven't done the calculation because it's a cost. It causes elimination from big competitions, plus reduces club's income. Makes it difficult to convince big sponsors and new players in the future. Yep, I agree with you. Potter probably has a termination clause on his contract. He should. The owners are billionaires. They didn't become billionaires by being dumb. If he doesn't get top four or Champions League football, I'm not sure. I haven't read the contract. The club prop about 2 games. About 2 games makes it look even more like they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I think we've dealt with that. If that makes sense. Let me see what else we have here. If Potter does not go, we will not get the best players in the summer. Some of the Chelsea players want to leave now because of Potter. That's some argument. And when you talk, JC, I really want you to address this one here. It's gone now. Okay, thank you for saying that. What style of football should our club play? Well, it's not up to me. You can suggest, but it's up to the manager. And I'm not sure. Right now, again, here's why I'd argue. I don't know if you guys can hear me because my screen is frozen. Here's why we lost our identity in the first place. We wanted to move to having a physical team, a team that wants to win a game by all means. It doesn't have to be pretty. To buy in players that, again, fancy, that can help us implement a fancy way of playing at the same time win. And I think that's why when we lost, you could say our spine. That's the way I want to put it. And we haven't gotten that, even though we've achieved some big stuff even after we started making that change. But if you look at our team, we've gone at the days when you play against Chelsea, you'd be scared to play against us. I don't know how else to put it. Good morning, Mike, and good morning to you too, Jamport. I hope you're doing well. If we go down to Leeds, that would be toxic. Oh, tell me about it. Seriously, I'd see a lot of people leaving the stadium. Even some would turn against the team, but I really do not want that to happen. Even if you don't like Potter, you should keep supporting the team for the sake of it. Chelsea is the entity you support and not the man himself. Judge the man's job. Don't go to the extent of wishing we lose the game up because you don't like the man. If that makes sense. Yeah, again, I don't know. I thought, again, I've taken care of the internet issue. Thank you for bringing that up. If they didn't get rid of him after Southampton, why would they now? I don't know. That's a question I cannot answer. Boehly is a billionaire, not a millionaire. 50 million is not a big deal. Yeah, but it's not about him. He isn't the sole owner of the club, if that makes sense. Boehly, yeah, I've read that one, and this one, this man is going to ruin us. Well, let's see. Sacking Potter would cost the sale of Havertz and Ziyech. I'm absolutely fine with that. but they're absolutely fine with it, just as you are. If Potter does not leave, we aren't going to reach a Champions League. Right now, Mourinho is the only coach that can save us. For me, it's a risk actually. I think Mourinho, I don't think he's good with young players. I've always argued that before. Plus, he isn't progressive enough for me. That's how I see it. That's me. But would I take him over ground? But I'd say yes. At least he'd be brutal with his selection. If you underperform, he takes you off immediately. This Sunday will be again. I will be live streaming some football matches on YouTube. Congratulations to you if you're again. If I have time, I'd check you out. Sorry, I'm late. I was in the chill room with Potter. Enjoy it, Kim. So nice to see you. Much love to everybody. Much love, Kim. So much love, John Port. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. American owners, yeah, they're putting you to shame. Is that what you're saying? Mourinho never won us the Champions League, but still, a lot of people seeing him as our greatest manager ever. But to me, I don't. I have my option, but I'm not going to say that now. Boehly makes a very, very big mistake when he let go. Okay, made a very big mistake when he let go Thomas Tuchel. But that's, by the way, if you're watching, if you haven't taken a second, drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. The likes do go a long way. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm going to come to you, Jesse. It's been a while. You've been on the panel for like 5 years now, but at least I'm coming to you. Your thoughts on the situation so that we can move on to other topics we have lined up.
Hi. Hello, Coach.
Big up to you too, brother.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
So Coach, what my 2 cents is, every team has a certain identity. Like the club, the team has a culture, a style of play. I mean, you know what I mean. If you look at, for example, I will give you specific examples. Juventus, Atletico Madrid, these will be teams which will be rock hard, very hard defensively, but they would counter-attack, score a goal quickly, and close the match. Then there are teams like Bayern Munich or Borussia, they are really attack heavy. There are teams which are like Pep's teams, the Manchester City. Chelsea, for a time being, at Conte, during Conte time, we saw like when he switched to back 3, we became defensively very strong. Something similar also Tuchel changed when he came in the first season when he won the Champions League. Because after Lampard, we were scoring a lot of goals, but our defense was leaking a lot of goals. So Tuchel came, he put in Rudiger, back 3, put a solid defensive foundation so that at least we are not conceding a lot of goals, and then started to experiment and moving forward, like in the build it up. The problem with Potter is I do not see what he's trying to do. I mean, he's chopping, changing, and it's not only like I can say like it's maybe not the Potter his fault, but I do not see or I do not hear what are the club trying to do. I mean, what is the direction we are going in? Again, because once you have a direction, then you mold your academy to the same way, your youth teams to the same way. You are hiring, scouting talent also in those kind of players. But I see certain thing that Chelsea is scouting a lot of young players on long-term contracts, and that's it. I mean, there is no other general pattern I can see, and I see also like the process. They say trust the process, trust the project. The project and the process has to be the team and the club, not the manager. We are not building a manager. We are building Chelsea Football Club. You understand me? Yeah. So it's the project is not Potter. Huh? The project is Chelsea. So if and if we have a general direction where the club is moving, a style of play, then you if a coach, because you cannot substitute the coach for few games mid-season. Normally, if the coach, you give him time for, like, if he's hasn't performed for like 2-3 games, is no question asked. But if it is like 5-10 games, then maybe he needs a break, but like you cannot substitute him. But when it gets to 15-20, then there is something wrong. But the process has to be in a structured way, that you change the manager, bring in another manager which fits into that style of play, and then you move on, carry on. The project should not be the manager. The project should be the Chelsea team and how we play. So at the moment, as Potter himself says, like there is a lot of pressure, you suffer mentally. So he is sick right now, and he has to also take the team to the against Dortmund, which is a very important game. Maybe he's not physically fit to be manager right now. I don't know. I mean, why are the board putting even more pressure on him, like ultimatums and all that? Maybe it's good for everybody to let him go, and it's good for him
Let
as
me
well.
ask you this quickly. I know Roger thinks otherwise. For me, he's a human being. With pressure comes stress. The pressure to survive comes quite a lot of stress. Even let's say, if, again, for instance, students will you could say will relate to when exams come close. You have a lot of pressure and it causes stress in most cases, especially if you feel like you're not ready for it, or if you're struggling to get ready for that exam. So I don't know what should I reference that will make more sense. But my question is, again, looking at him, do you think that the pressure is getting to him?
Oh yes, yes, yes. He's not seeing clearly. You can see in his teams. I mean, the substitutions and all that. I think it's getting to even his press conferences. How often do you see a manager comparing himself or his situation to another manager? It's unprecedented. Huh? He's calling out names like Klopp and all in his press conferences. That's not normal. Like the Arsenal situation and all that. You don't do that. That's he's lost a little bit of control of this situation. Of course, it's not a normal situation, and
I
and
don't
and
see it
and
that
and,
way.
and, and, and
Let
he
him drop. I
is.
was going to ask you something based on that, Roger. But go ahead, JC.
Yeah. So in such a scenario, okay, Leeds or some playing Southampton and all, you can still hope like he wins and regains confidence, and then he can it can be more enterprising and exploring and like foundation to have little bit to restart, you know. But the thing is like the game with Dortmund is much more important. I mean, and it's too big a game for such a pressure cooker environment, you know. So I do not know. Maybe they should really. It will be good for all parties to really let him go because the eventually the project is not manager. Our project is the club and the team.
Roger, here's what I want to ask you. To me, that's how I see it. Good thing we're not sitting in the same place, so you're not going to punch me on behalf of your client. The question I want to ask you is this, Roger. Looking at how he behaves, his responses during the press conferences, referencing other managers' situation, should he even be doing that? For me, if I'm in such situation and you keep bringing up questions, I wouldn't answer you by referencing other managers. It just sounds, some people will take it and run with it as an excuse, really. It doesn't, to me, he's sounding a bit defensive. When you say that, why would you be referencing Mikel Arteta club? You shouldn't. Just, if I'd find another way to answer that question rather than going because it's not actually it doesn't differ that much from it being whataboutism. I
Okay.
just
So,
answer my own question and say this is my situation. I had too many injuries.
Coach,
I
I
have
got
too
it.
many new players, and I still think we'll turn things around rather than going about referencing other teams and all that. I want to get your thoughts. Really, do you think it's
Yes.
okay that he does that, even if it comes
Got to be the
across to a lot of
longest
people as
question.
excuses? Yeah, go ahead.
Coach, that's got to be the longest way of asking a question I've ever heard. But yeah, I get it. I get it.
But you understand my
Yeah,
question,
of
right?
course. Yeah. Now
Mhm.
listen. So I'm going to, please don't think I'm being rude. I'm going to answer that
No,
question.
like I said, that's why we have a
No.
show.
So
We're all, yeah.
I'm going to answer that question with a question, which my mother always told me is very rude. Excuse me.
And
No, but
you're gonna do it anyway
yeah, I'm
because
going
it's
to do it
coach.
anyway. Sorry, mother.
Mhm.
But here's the deal. Did he when he was talking, was he abrupt, abusive, animated, angry, or was he cerebral, calm, measured, restrained? He actually carried on talking with the same tone, the same body language, the same calmness, which he, with the exception of him joking, I'm talking about when he's being serious, he carried on with the same voice reflectiveness, everything. He was, I don't see him as being defensive. Listen, if you have one or two injuries, I get that. But as I said, you look at Liverpool. I can't remember 2 or 3 seasons ago when they were really hurt, and most commentators were saying they're decimated. They've lost this player, that player. Their injuries from a couple of years ago when they fell off the map was nothing compared to what we have experienced this year in numbers and in quality of players also. So that's why I don't have a problem doing that. What I will say that I think he feels under pressure is because of his team selection. When you look at the Borussia game and the previous game, and I said they're basically, with one exception, that they're the same starting lineup. There's one difference. He's gone to a more veteran team. And usually when coaches are under the thumb, they usually revert to senior players because they know that senior players, maybe they don't have the athleticism of the youth, but they know that they will eliminate errors because they've seen they've done that. Mental errors at the very least.
Trust and plus adaptability to tactics.
Yeah, and you're always going to have physical errors. Like if your touch is too strong or whatever, that's always going to transpire. But it's eliminating the mental errors. And because you've quote unquote been there, done it, seen it before as a veteran, you know what to expect. So have you noticed, like this game and the subsequent Dortmund game, these were very experienced teams. In fact, he even went more experienced with Tottenham because he didn't play Mudryk. He played my favorite player, Sterling. So that's where I would, shall we say, presume that he's under more pressure because of he has gone away from a more youthful team. That's how I interpret it. Obviously, that doesn't mean I'm right. That's just my. By the way, JC, it's 3 cents. There's a thing called inflation. Just joking.
Let me ask you this quickly. I don't know if you finished answering that
no,
one.
I have.
If you happen to be one of his advisors, wouldn't you advise him again, or would you tell him it's okay referencing other teams when talking, referencing club and all that?
See, this is what I see. This is what I think you're. When I say you, I'm talking about so many people. I'm not saying you specifically.
A category of people seeing it that way.
A plethora of people, not just this. It's like I remember a week or two ago. Excuse me, I'm sorry. People were saying, well, he just stands on the sideline. He doesn't have a notepad and pen. And I think it was the Dortmund game or the previous game, the camera panned to him. And what did he do? He had a pen and paper, puts it in his, that long black coat, puts it in a pocket. It's like they micro-analyze everything. I'm surprised they don't criticize him for wearing shoelaces. He should be wearing slip-on shoes. It's like, when if you want to criticize a player, a coach or whomever, actually, it's like, to me, that's not relevant. As I said, you see some managers / coaches in their press conferences and they lose it. They storm out. They're arrogant. They're belligerent, however you want to term it. I don't see him as that. I see him as the same old, and I mean this politely. I see him as the same old bland, not very charismatic, very fact of matter. Do you see what I'm saying? He's not charismatic. He's not very inspiring. He's not, but he has a cerebral approach. He's boring. Let's put it that way. He doesn't have that gravitas that a Thomas Tuchel.
You're going to lose your job.
No, but I'm being honest with you.
No, I'm just kidding.
I've watched. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've watched every press conference he's ever done, and well, I mean for Chelsea that is, and when you compare him to a Tuchel, who is a very charismatic, very endearing person, humorous too. You get the sense that you would follow him through a brick wall. I like Thomas Tuchel immensely. So yeah,
I'm not following him through a brick wall. I'm just
that old expression,
no, but just go ahead.
But I don't see. I'm sorry, I don't see. I was about to say Thomas Potter. I don't see Potter as 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 being defensive in that regard. In fact, you couldn't tell whether he's won the last 10 games in a row or lost the last 10 games in a row. He seems very bland, very methodical, very matter of fact. He doesn't vary in that regard. Is that a good or is that a bad thing? I have no idea. But I don't sense what JC was saying. I don't. Or you were saying. I don't. And I think everyone is.
But no, just blend JC.
No. I don't see. I think. What he does in his press conferences, I think he's really professional, and I haven't had a problem with whatever he's said so far. I think people are just clamming, they're just clinging on to things just to find a molecule
due to bad results.
Yeah, or to substantiate their theory, whatever. I don't see it. I think it's, as they say, much to do about nothing. I really do. I don't get it. What matters is what is done. So, see, this is where I have a problem. I have a problem with people criticizing him, saying he's too bland. He crosses his arms. He's very polite. He's very, very cool, calm, and collected on the touchline. I don't have a problem with that. Whether he's won 10 in a row, whether he's lost 10 in a row. You know what I do have a problem with? I have a problem with a manager being abusive to a referee or swearing or losing it. I don't mind. Like Conte used to celebrate with the fans when we would score a game. He would open up his arms and want to crowd surf into the first row of players.
Climbing the bench roof.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I found that endearing and it gave me goosebumps. Okay. I didn't think he went over the line, but I do have problems with managers that are like, I love Klopp, don't get me wrong, but I think he crosses that line quite often where he is too animated, too abusive. And same with, what's his name? Arteta. I think to me, this is just me, doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. I have a problem because, you know what? This sends the wrong message to the youth growing up. This is my opinion. And I don't have a problem with a manager that's cool, calm, and collective. I just don't. Ancelotti was the same. Yes, he had gravitas. I get it. I get that. You can't compare him. But I'm just saying it can be done. And I think it should be done.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. To reward the panelists in a few days, I'm not sure what date, we're going to do a giveaway for the panelists. And how we're going to do it would be last panelist standing. I'll explain how.
That. Yeah. I love that show. It's funny.
But that's by the way. We move on. I am so fed up again with Potter giving a day. I'm going to go to Bobby, by the way, after I catch up with the chat. And but Roger, you need to read what Bluetooth again has a message for you in the chat if you can find it. Given all day yesterday, Leeds has scored 22 goals. This should be a real ban again, a burner. Yeah, we'll look at the numbers. We'll see again whether we're capable of, whether the statistics tell us the most. We'll look at the statistics and have an idea what we believe will be the most likely outcome of those games that we believe they're telling him he has to win. The rotation in the team is overwhelming. You cannot get consistency with such. That's the truth. I think for me, you could say it had these, again, selected a particular 11 and used them mainly and still, rotate every now and then, I think he'd be better off now. But that's in hindsight. Nobody knows what would have happened if had he done that. And Henry, Maglo, nice to see you. If you're watching, if you haven't, guys, we need just 29 more likes to get it to 100 likes. And remember, we have a membership now. If you can join, if you can afford it, it's just $2.99 sets. If you cannot find Still enjoy yourself. We still get your comments here. Boehly, I'm not reading that. But Jose would have actually won it. No, there's no way telling Jose would have actually won it. You don't know that really, because somebody will come with an argument asking you how many finals again has he took us to one. Didn't he? No, he didn't.
No, never.
It was Grant, yeah. So how many finals has he taken us to actually? If you want to argue that, but I wouldn't say yeah. But still, as much as I don't rate Grant, but I wouldn't get to the point of saying Jose would have won it. Do you think Jose would have gotten to the final? I don't know. He keeps again repeating.
You'll never know, Coach.
The boys gave everything. Well, we have everything again. That's a habit that we repeat. That's his own of saying the boys gave everything. So you might as well get used to that one. Rahayu, Brianni, I hope. Brianni, I hope you're doing well. Boehly is too egoist. Wow. Loser match players were given 2 days off. Manchester won and no thereof. What about moment? What about moments? Everything that seemed not to work in at all. Some part of it you can say is luck too. I must admit the entire squad reflects Potter's energy. I am surprised they still have a pulse. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna start. I love you, but I'm gonna stop reading your comments because I really do want to go to heaven. And I'm serious whenever I say that. Keep liking the video, people. We need 28 more to get it to 100 likes. We need to get to 100 before the show ends. It's not gonna get up to 3 hours because we started a bit late, an hour late, really. Because I wanted to make sure that the internet is working properly. I have a pattern at the time where they usually do the maintenance. Because I called them, they say they were doing the maintenance in my area the other day. That was why the internet was down. We saw our Porto team in the Premier League has never scored more than they have allowed. Chelsea included so far. Yeah, that's concerning, really. Our players, it's like the Walking Dead. Wow. Okay, I'm not going to read anything that's saying such about our players again. And I'm serious.
Hey, Coach.
Sorry?
Coach, I need to tell you an interesting statistic. What's it called? Real Madrid have scored more goals in England this year than Chelsea have.
Oh, yeah. I saw that, and I couldn't hold myself. That's really, that hurt. And I'm sure as a rival fans started that.
Sure, it was funny, though. It was funny.
Yeah, it's funny, yeah, but it doesn't make us feel well. As much as it's funny, no, it doesn't really. But that's why we have a new member. Welcome to Chart Nerd. The membership is called Chart Nerd. Wally Waldo, thank you so much for all the support, and I cannot thank you enough. You want to give away, and you said use it as a super chat for the channel. I appreciate that. Much love to you and much respect. You've been one of the OGs here in terms of you always being in the chat supporting the channel. Thank you so much for doing that. The plan by match-going fans to protest the project to try to get a new man in for the Dortmund game is a bit ambitious. Yep, I don't think it changes anything. Nick Blue planned one, and he was only one at the gates of Stamford Bridge. As much that was hilarious to see, really. Roger, it's not a lawyer's job to tell the truth. So why are you labeling Potter, your client, to be specific, and labeling him a boring and bland? There's never been a truer statement as that. Potter, he says, with players like Jota, Henderson, Matip, club win trophies. Okay, congratulations to him. Chelsea doesn't learn from that make them to hire David Moyes. The beautiful game says, so basically Potter's only magic trick was to suck the life, fire and passion out of the club and fan base. I wish I could make the guy disappear also. That wouldn't be nice. Again, just talk about his job and not the man himself. I agree with Roger criticism of the criticism of demeanor and all the personal characteristics that seem to be style points. It doesn't make any sort of sense, honestly, and I'm serious about that, and I know you're serious too. Don't attack the individual, attack his job. It's as simple as that. That's why you don't see us going to name calling And welcome to
Unless,
Chat Nerds.
unless,
Yeah, go ahead.
unless his style is being abusive, then that needs criticism. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, and even you can actually critique a person's behavior, but it hasn't come to that. He
Yeah, if
works
it's
for the
not
club.
professional. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's not professional, yeah, that's when you criticize his behavior and all that. I don't think we should be going to the extent of becoming personal. Then it's an abuse. Welcome to Chat Nerd. Chat Nerd, Wally Waldo. I appreciate all the support. I agree with Roger criticism of the demeanor.
Yes,
And all the personal characteristics to be, again, it doesn't make any sort of sense. One goal in February is beyond madness.
Yeah.
Potter must have lost his wand in Sweden.
That's funny.
I think he had it. He had it at Brighton at one time. We were seeing magic, really. They were beating big teams. Has Potter's lawyer finally come to his senses, or is he still... again, he's a lawyer that likes to be objective, even sometimes to the detriment of his client, if that makes sense. And Cobra, apologies for mentioning the way I mentioned your name yesterday. You sounded like you didn't like that, but apologies. He is a trapped in Potter's bubbles of incompetence. I don't think Roger can be factual, but I like it that he's playing the devil's advocate. It makes the show interesting, and I'm not gonna try it because it's not even possible to turn against until Potter leaves. Like I said, he'll probably be the last man standing. That's who he is. Even though he's seen the situation, I still find a way, to be different.
It's not just Potter. Let's say Potter's gone.
No, I
in the
understand.
next hour. Let's say we get a new manager. Well, obviously we would do. I'd still
Obviously, what?
Obviously, we still have a new manager, right?
Or maybe Todd
Okay.
Boehly himself will take over.
No, yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Hola, Rodrigo. But no, seriously. Let's say we get manager A next. Doesn't matter when it is. I still believe that manager should be given a certain amount of time, and I'm talking about time with being game specific. This is just my opinion. I believe that.
How about result specific?
Yeah,
That
Could
makes
I
sense.
come in here?
Yeah, to a
Because
certain extent. Hello.
Roger, your gang member, when you get a chance, give him a chance. He wants to speak. That's up to
Yeah,
you.
go
You're
for it.
still
Go for
talking.
it. Is that
you're still-
Bobby?
So you would say go for it because it's Bobby. If it was me now.
Yeah. So I just think they should be given. Yeah, results do matter, but to a certain extent. But you have to give them. Look, this is only the 6th game or the 5th game that he's played since the transfer window has closed, and he's been depleted for the most part. This squad. These aren't normal circumstances, and I'd say that whether it's Potter, Klopp, Frank, whomever. Do you understand? Or the next manager, or the next manager. These are what I would call extenuating circumstances, and that's just my opinion. But I believe, like, what's his
Roger,
name?
I don't come with dictionary. Break it down a bit.
Circumstances that are not normal, shall we say? Being depleted is not normal.
I have such a different take
Sure.
on
Rodrigo, just be a bit patient, and I know Bobby will be brief, so I can bring you in. Go ahead, Bobby.
I had such a different take in all of this.
Sure.
The stakes are very, very high. I mean, we're talking as if we're, picking daisies in a field. We've got all day long to do this and do that. We haven't. This is a brutal atmosphere. It is financially crippling if you don't get it right, and there are jobs at stake, and there is a reputation of an establishment at stake. This is not a joke. It's not something that you can play with. All this talk of time is what opposition used to lull us into a sense of defeatism. I really like Roman. The more I think of Roman, the more I admire him and like his winning mentality. That man was a winner. He did not suffer.
He was ruthless.
He did not suffer fools. There's no point in sinking millions into an establishment and come up with no returns. He forced his returns. I'm not into all this. This isn't a gentleman's competition. And it isn't, we're not here to be animals, but we're here to be brutally successful. It's, sadly, this is something. You remember during the World Cup, I said that, look, I'm going to completely revolutionize my mentality about how I think of football. After we got kicked out of yet another major competition with perhaps probably the best squad in the competition, arguably.
What team?
I'm talking about England.
Angleterre.
No, I just wanted
Arguably.
to say it.
We've never won the European Championship, although the media will never admit to that, but that's the effing truth. We've fluked one World Cup at home, which many people will arguably tell you it was a stitch up. And we've always been also rans. This mentality of accepting defeat is not acceptable anymore. And I don't want to be like that with my national team. And I certainly will not be like that with my club team. Doesn't get you anywhere. Participation gives no prize. Chelsea have lost more finals than they have won. And they've been in so many, especially domestic finals. I think that's a disgrace. I think we should be abjectly mortified by that record, and it should make us more ruthless than ever before. I don't think we should care about what anybody says, anybody thinks, and go for the jugular every time. That is the winning mentality. That's how the Germans do it. And you watch all these other nations, maybe apart from the South Americans that have a lot of inherent ability and which makes them win like these footballing competitions, but even with their inherent ability there is a certain measure of ruthlessness. You have to be ruthless in competition. What's going on now with Graham Potter is bordering on the pathetic. It's not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable anymore. His win rate is pathetic. Now, this guy would, as pathetic as things are, win favour for even more time if he showed signs of progression, signs of what he's trying to do, signs of a strategy on the pitch. But there's nothing like that. He has to go.
Can I
know.
ask you quickly, just very quickly, out of all that graph, or not graph, but list that you've put up, how many of those coaches were missing 12 players at any one time?
I'll go for it again.
Well, that is
do you not agree? Extenuating circumstances.
No.
That is a huge
I
extenuating.
think, Roger, if you're bringing in that argument,
Yeah.
it looks like we've gotten worse since we got more players available to him.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're not fully fit. But they're not fully fit though. They're just returning.
Why I struggle.
All right, let me catch up with the chat. I want to bring in Rodrigo because we don't have too much time. Bobby, were you still talking? Roger, you wanted to. If you want to respond, I'll give you the opportunity in a bit.
I just
you
want
okay? You okay, Roger?
Oh yeah.
I just want to land this point about the players that
please.
So I just want to land this point about the players that have been off injured. Look, that doesn't excuse what happened at Nottingham Forest. Neither does it excuse what happened against Southampton. You don't need all your top class players to play efficiently and grind out a result. We're not even able to grind out results. That is another major problem. He's not got hold of the coaching aspect of the team. It's as simple as that. As painful as it is, Roman is right. Once you start to falter, he gets rid and changes. Simple.
But the lack
All right,
of
let me catch up with what we have in the chat. Rodrigo, just a few minutes. I'll come back to you. Roger, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just a lack of leadership in the squad also.
Oh, we're suffering from that quite a lot.
The manager creates that. Rudiger was always a sort of loud, happy-go-lucky player in the dressing room, but he wasn't a leader until Tuchel came.
Yes, I agree.
Made him a leader. There are many players in that team that can be made leaders. If you pull them aside and pull out those characteristics in them, that they have already. That's how
I
most
disagree.
managers do it. Well,
All right.
you think John
Let me catch
Terry
up with the
would?
chat, Roger. We'll give Rodrigo a chance to
Sure.
speak because we don't have too much of that name. Please don't forget your response. It's important that you do. Here we have again Vic. Let me just call you Saran. Coach, if Potter does not feel any sort of pressure after 2 wins in 16 matches, it is very, very concerning. To me, I'd still argue the pressure is getting to him, but he has a way of handling himself. Even it's difficult for you to clearly say it's really getting to him. Coach, have you never heard of Penn and Teller, the magicians? You're telling me I live in Las Vegas, so you rest assured I know them. They made a very good living out of making large animals disappear and 7 people in the severing. You can say someone people in half. Yep, I know them. I live in Vegas, so you know I should know them. If I don't know them, then I might as well move. Lots of fans actually are not football experts because even some pundits are also not football experts, if that makes sense. More than 80% of them start blaming Potter before he became Chelsea coach. Wow, that is some comment there. I can agree with you. Some are just saying Potter out, but cannot back up their argument. But if you ask me, I'll always back up my argument. Bobby Fergie says, Coachella, I think the protest being organized by Tony SW6, Mineros FC, ETC is going to be a little different than Nick Blues. Nick Blues, I don't want to laugh at him because he's my friend. But he made he got some laughter out of it, took a picture of himself, said, look who showed up or something like that. I am all on board over this long-term project, but I feel like we need to back someone with a managerial pedigree like perhaps Enrique or Zidane or Flick, knowing that a bad spell is a minor blip when you have those sort of manager with those that sort of pedigree. If you're watching people, we need 22 more likes to get it to 100. Let's make it happen. And Wally Waldo, once again, to show you how, again, I remember quite well. Even after you removed Wally from your name, I still call you Wally Waldo. Thank you so much for becoming a member. That will go a long way, especially with the plan, to put the plan in motion to always support students monthly. I appreciate that. He says, I'm not going to lie. I think all the signings we made are the right signings, very good signings indeed. But I honestly think Potter doesn't know how to use them properly. To me, that's a solid argument. I would say some people think otherwise, but there's a lot more to them not being used right than quite a lot is going on right now, and we don't know everything. O'Neill Diaz, who's going to apply for the Chelsea fan board? Need to start nominating some fans.
They already got
Sorry?
They already got someone. It's too late.
Okay, they already got someone. It's too late. He said again, really learning. Bobby, did you apply in Russia? You should apply, really. Really learning and enjoying the panel discussion. A big up to you guys. Thank you so much. Good to hear that you're enjoying it. And Wally Water says,
busy defending my client, coach.
Now, then you do that on a bigger stage if you get elected for that person. Like Modric, Modric plays better. Modric plays better with the wing back. I didn't know that really. Felix plays better in the center. Enzo is a CM, not a DM, and we've badly seen Nani. Wow. I'm gonna take my time to think about what you just said. I think it makes sense. Roman was a general, and here's the thing: the surprising thing is Roman actually handled it, even though he wasn't for profit. He handled the situation more like a business, more like it was business. Because if you see it as business,
he was ruthless.
He was ruthless, and which is what you'd expect from somebody who's profit-minded, because you don't want to lose ground one bit. And that's again, in this case, you could say he doesn't want to lose ground in terms of winning trophies. And from a business perspective, it makes sense. If a manager isn't doing well enough, you don't want stories. You want to start seeing things change.
All of them, apart from
Yeah, so I'll catch up in a bit, and I'll bring you in, Bob Rigo. Injury was the excuse the Potter used. The current again is blood. That one is really funny, but I'm not going to go into that one right now. We went from again having too many players out injured to now the squad is too bloated and he's having issues handling it. But I'm not going to talk about that now. The manager makes the leader. To be honest, he gave Rhys James the armband last match. Was he? It was Thiago Silva got injured and handed it to Rhys James. So probably they knew. I think if you look at everybody on the pitch, where are we getting the noise from? Somebody's in the shopping mall. If you look at everybody we had on the pitch that day, Rhys James deserved to take the armband. Really, once the players has the armband, it's up to the players to make sure they are vocal and giving out orders, because being vocal is important, but more importantly, you have to lead by example. And I think Rhys he's shown that he can lead by example, but maybe we need to see more. I'm not Potter out in theory. I don't know, whatever that means. I don't know.
That's not a good preface.
Oh my goodness, Thomas, you're killing me. I'm not Potter out in theory, but time is running short. If we make the change, it will be justified. We need to win now. Your overall comment is actually confusing me even more, and I'm sure you know exactly what you're doing. NS Sports TV, if you own a channel, please do let me know. I'd like to help you promote your channel as much as I can. I'm still Potter in. We lose to Leeds and Dortmund. I will find it very hard to defend him. Chelsea should start shopping for a coach. That is, if they're not doing that already. Chelsea is a big entity, and be rest assured they're looking at that. I think we are approaching a break glass moment. This is getting out of hand right now. Before we start talking long term, let's save the season first. Yep, let's save the season before we start talking long term. I still cannot. For Tom White, Potter has kept Aubameyang warming the bench. His face the last time, I will never forget that. When he's on the lineup, for goodness sake, Oba is a proven goal scorer. Better play him than Havertz. I would do that really at this point. If he's trust and experience, he should have played him. Noni is basically Cho. I don't think so. I think it's better than Cho. I am disappointed by the way Potter is handling this great men team. I am fully shifted to Chelsea women team. Enjoy it. They play well. I will only be back when Potter is out from my club. At least you have something to keep you busy. But Smith David, it's been a while, brother. More importantly, do let me know you're doing well. At Shakhtar, Mudryk always played with a wing back. That overlapped him constantly. And you could say, we saw example against Liverpool. I think we had the wing back on the pitch on that day. Potter already set Enzo up to be the most dribbled pass player in Europe. That's concerning, really, but he's not. That showed you he's not a DM, really. Now, Mudryk about to land the 007. Oh, my goodness. Graham Potter, very, very unserious. That's how you see it. Coach, again, I can tell you if Potter gets the sack, we will surely say that's life. Okay, yep. Never, ever trust a man who begins a sentence with, I am not Potter out in theory. No, that was hilarious, though,
Yeah.
if we're being honest.
What
funny. Difference do you think a preseason will make for Potter? I don't know, really. I don't want to wait. I don't want him to even get a chance for a preseason. We haven't been out of competition. He has had plenty of time to get his ideas across. He had a month, nearly a month, but still, the argument is it's a valid argument to argue we had a lot of players injured at that point. He had a month plus during, let me say, the duration of the World Cup. Yeah. So you go ahead, Bob Rigo, and like I said, I'm going to continue calling you Bob Rigo. I just started. So you go ahead, your thoughts on the situation, so we can switch topics.
I feel so vindicated, man. Obviously, it's not good because it's like, oh, I told you so. But in a way, you want the club to
vindicated
do well.
In what sense?
Like, I want the Potter out from October. I wanted him out. Now I feel like, but then again, it's like, obviously I want my club to do well. So I would have wished that I was wrong.
Sure.
And I wish that it posted that proved me wrong and the team was doing well. But I saw it from day one. From moment I saw our pressing was not good enough. The way we approach games, we always on a back foot. We're not proactive enough. Even against teams that we were showing too much respect early on, and even when we were on that fake unbeaten run, we were showing teams too much respect. You start on a back foot. You're not pressing your position high enough. You're
We
not
were
winning.
playing poorly when we were winning.
Yes, we're
Oh
playing.
yeah.
And
Oh
now,
yeah,
I admit
I
that.
respect Roger for always being truthful about that. He
Yeah.
was one of those that was clearly saying
Results are deceiving.
it's all about. It wasn't again that it wasn't all rosy then.
we never got our manager bounce. Like what a lot
No,
of
we didn't.
yes,
I agree.
we never got. I think that also coupled with this is where the consequence of a preseason carried on from. You can see the players didn't look fit in those early stages, and I think they never got, because obviously you can rectify it and maybe have a program after preseason, have a program to get your players' fitness up to scratch. But Todd Boehly obviously broke down by firing and
Yes.
took. So there was never continuity, because when Potter came in, we in the we play the least number of games in preseason. That always baffled me. Like us, by the time we're playing Arsenal in that game, Arsenal had already played something like 5 or 6 games.
It
That's what
wasn't so much that though, Rodrigo. Sorry for interjecting. It's where we played. We
it's
played
where we
in
played.
humidity.
The whole preparation was not good.
We played in
So
places that it's not conducive to playing football.
No. Yeah, so already you could see from the Everton game. I remember, even the last Tuchel's game, Southampton, West Ham. You can see the players weren't fit enough. The fitness level was really really bad. So, but however, we've seen this many times. I remember a season where Man United won the league. They started the season very very badly, but the manager will have a program to make the player catch up with their fitness. Unfortunately, Tuchel was fired, so that program never got to materialize. And then we got Potter in. I think Graham Potter probably didn't grasp the level of unpreparedness the players were at the beginning of the season. Maybe didn't really get it. Like, these players didn't have a good preseason. Maybe if he got it at that point, maybe he would have come in with another training regime to make the players catch up with the season. Because what happened is you get thrown into this big job, you have to get results, but the players are not fit enough to get you those results. So from the off, he sort of like was fighting with one hand behind his back, like he couldn't really do much. So I give him something, you know. I'm not always Potter out without any reasoning, but
Sure.
he didn't help himself by chopping and changing. I'm talking here like if he's already gone. He didn't help himself like, with a lot of changing formation. Didn't have a consistent way of approaching games, and even in games where we should have been more on the front foot, no, he decided, we need to be more on the back foot. And remember, it was a game when I said we're playing like ping pong in midfield. There's no control to our games. Some people enjoy that we play faster football. Faster football you need to control games, because if you have the ball, the opposition can't score. That's just a fact. And then obviously, depending on what you do,
we have always been since this man has arrived a different team when he's missing, and that is N'Golo Kante.
I don't want to give him that. I don't want to.
It's the truth, though.
We shouldn't be relying.
I agree. I agree 100% on that. But no matter what manager he's been under, when that man is missing,
right now,
we're different.
I don't even think Kante can sell, because I wanted him to build a template before all these injury players coming back, so we can see like, right, if you add the Kante here, you add the Reece James there, the team will look good. But I just feel like they're not good now. Right now, I feel like he's lost. The players, I think the player like him on a personal level, as in he's a personable guy. Maybe with them he's like, but on a level of like tactical level, I think some of the players are switched off. They're not listening to him. Whatever he's trying to do is not getting across. And my biggest worry now is we have a lot of young players. Once their forms start going bad, once these were Modric, Enzo, they become memes. They get mocked. is hard. How many players you've known where they started their life at a new club really badly, and then suddenly they turn it around and people give them the flower?
It's a slippery slope, isn't it? Yeah.
It's very hard. So right now we're in that critical stage where you don't want this form to go in and affect the new signing, because if it does, we are basically lost. We've given these, some of them on average 7-year contract. We can write off that 1 year of the 7-year contract, and then you have to build them up. You have to build their confidence up. You have to build them up. You have to build their reputation up, because the reputation goes a long way in football. You have to build that up. I think that's the risk we're running. I think Todd Boehly need to swallow his pride, bite the bullet, and get this man out. This man is begging to be fired. He said himself in a press conference, he said, I can't rely on support. I haven't done enough at this club. And he knows that. I think he's almost...
Has he not been honest in his press conferences? I think he's been too honest.
No. He's been too honest, and he's been too honest to a point where he's giving too many excuses. Like the whole thing about comparing...
those are facts, though.
Comparing that to Arsenal. I mean, you want to win this, Chelsea fan, man. You can't be using a rival club.
But it's the truth, though.
It's not the truth, because Arsenal, when Mikel Arteta took over Arsenal didn't finish the previous season in third, and they didn't win the Champions League 2 seasons before. Didn't finish in fourth the season before that. Do you know what I mean? Mikel Arteta was taking over a team that was in disarray for years and years.
But they were good enough to beat a Tuchel team in a final.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
He's not taking. Graham Potter is not taking. He's not taking over a team that was in disarray. He's not taking over a team like that. He's taking over a team that had the foundation, that needed a boost to.
He took over a club that was in disarray.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the team, the football team.
Sure.
Yeah, the players, the football team itself. Because where Tuchel took us, we needed someone to come and take us to that next level. The next level was to actually compete for the league title in 1 or 2 years.
Tuchel wasn't dismissed because of footballing reasons. There was other reasons.
I know that.
Yeah.
But the ownership.
We've had that fight here, and I will still come back to where
I know that.
But go ahead.
But the owners should have realized where Tuchel has took the club to, and then think, right,
I agree. I'm a huge Tuchel fan. Huge.
So you can't. So the owners took us way back. They took us to a point where we're not even at Sarri level now. We basically way back in the 90s, way back to the Glenn Holders or that kind of era where you have to build up again a winning mentality, a winning culture when we already had it. Because if this carries on with this manager, I can see us going down and in big trouble. We look at our next 14 games in the league. I tell you what, if we don't beat Leeds at home, it's one of those 3 points that we can get. So it's Leeds at home, Forest at home, and Wales. Those 2 games are games that we have to win for us to actually survive in this league. Because some of the games are coming at home or away. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I think it needs to. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe there's a financial. Maybe this is my theory. Maybe in his contract there is a clause about securing top 4. Maybe, right? So they can only fire him and not pay him the severance package if he doesn't meet those goals. If you fire him today, Graham Potter can say, right, how would you have predicted that I wouldn't have met top 4? Maybe I was gonna turn things around and make top 4. Legally, I mean, yeah, as his lawyer, legally he has a leg to stand on, right? Because he can literally say, I could have won all the remaining games.
Yeah.
To make top 4.
Yeah,
because you can't really argue against that.
So probably they have something that has to happen before they fire him without paying that much money.
Probably that's another thing. Maybe another thing is he could say, well, I could have won the Champions League. I still had the second leg, and I could, you know, so they need to exhaust all those
possibilities.
Yeah, all those possibilities.
Rodrigo,
yeah,
coach, cover your ears. So I was listening to some, I can't remember which pundit it was, and they were talking about, Reece James is one of our best players, and we're not bringing the best out of him in playing with a back four, that we should move to a back three where we can use him as wing backs, where we can cross the ball more for Chilwell and him. And they're saying that because playing with the back four, it negates his potential going forward and his crossing. Do you think that's a consideration?
No. The reason that why the back three will not work is because if you play back three where you're not engaging high up the field, you're not winning the ball, you're not pressing your position high up the field, you turn the back three into a Spurs kind of back three where because the way we approach games.
No, we're talking about the wing backs though. We're talking about
no. Yeah. Spurs play with wing backs. But I'm talking about the approach of the game. The reason it worked under Tuchel is because we're winning the ball high up. We were literally attacking. If you think about it, we had the front three and the two wing backs. We were making a front five. Literally, we're attacking with five players high up the pitch, winning the ball high up.
We're pressing up.
But with the way Potter is approaching games, it's not going to be the same unless he changes approach. If he's approaching the game the same way we're approaching, on a back foot, not pressing high up enough. If you play back five with that sort of lazy approach, we're gonna end up looking like Tottenham. At least Tottenham know how to counterattack. We don't know how to counterattack. It's gonna be. It's not gonna look good.
We don't have a. Yeah.
He needs to still play this 4-2-3-1 and make it work. If he goes to a back five, I'm telling you what, a lot of people are begging for the back five. It's not gonna work with Porter's approach to games. You need to for the back five to look somehow attacking. You need to win the ball high up the pitch. You need to press. You need to do that. We're not doing it with this manager. He's not coaching that. And when we press, we're not pressing properly. We're doing half.
All right, let me catch up with the chat again. We'll look at other items we have lined up to talk about. Except if after I do that, Bobby wants to add anything to the conversation, that would be fine. Chelsea Boy says, what difference do you think a preseason will make? I think we've read that one there. This is he was leaving off the automatism left by Tuchel when he took over. That's why we're winning. Now this is all on him. Wow. Okay, Philip Smith, you haven't told me if you're doing well because I haven't seen you in a while. Potter extended his contract for 7 years until Chelsea. What? Extended his contract for 7 years until Chelsea to a National League.
I don't get that.
That well, again, maybe you need to rephrase it. Let's see what we have here. Dan E says that you were also playing poorly on the Tuchel towards the end. Battered 3-0 by Leeds. Beaten by Dynamo Zagreb. Don't put this all on Potter. Your players were playing on trash. Were playing like trash before Potter even took over. That's a solid argument to a certain measure, but that's a huge difference. If you have to tell yourself the truth, that's, by the way, I'm not into, and I hate the comparison. Really, the truth remains. No matter how you think, how many players we had out, and how many new players we have, we should be doing better than we're doing for one reason or the other. And I'm not going to start arguing what I think the reasons are right now. I've said that a billion times. And Panda, your name was Cobra yesterday. Now you changed it to Panda. Yeah, but big up to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for being available here. The players are good, but Harry Potter is not good enough for the club. Roman Lott, please at least call him his name and talk about his job. Smith Davis said it doesn't matter if they are backing him. We are going down slowly in the league. Yep, we are. And we're lucky not to have actually drifted down for that, because the truth remains we've lost a few games and we remained in 10th. And we haven't played well of late and we remain in 10th. I think we're lucky other teams aren't doing well as much. The players need to look at themselves. They need that too. It's not all on him. That's the truth. Potter out. Here we go. Yeah. Diggs too right. They needed to look at themselves. Chelsea fans have forgotten they were losing a 3-0 to Leeds, beaten by Zagreb. Your team was trash before Potter took over. We agree, and you've said that before. we agree. I'm not saying everything is entirely down to Potter, but we've made a few changes, so it's not the same team anymore. You could say we have a better team than we had then, if that makes sense. Please stop comparing our last games on the TT with what we are currently doing. The comparison, yeah, I don't like it. I don't think it makes any type of sense. Roger, come on. We cannot spread that slander about TT. If there are other reasons that Boehly sacked Potter, then he should man up and say it. That has always been my argument, but I get where Roger's coming up. But this time, Roger did say clearly. Roger just said, just one second. Roger just said he wasn't fired for footballing reason. He didn't say anything else. But go ahead, Roger, if you wanted to say something.
I told you we've had this before, and I get your point, Coach. I do. I get it. But Simon Jordan, who was a former owner of Crystal Palace, I believe, he's a very articulate and cerebral chap. And he was in Qatar and spoke with Boehly. And after speaking with him, basically, Simon Jordan said, if I was the owner, I would have fired him also. So read into that what you may. So he's intimating that what was going on was not professional, was unacceptable. That's all you can infer from that. So it wasn't for footballing reasons. I mean, it's pure, that's all I want to say. But that you read into it, that's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me catch up on what else we have in the chat.
And I'm a huge fan of him, Coach.
I know that. No jokes. I know. Panda says a quick reminder to Modric fans. My boy Pulisic scored a hat trick on his second game, whereas Modric constantly looks like a deer caught in the headlights of a 80 million player. He must score 20 goals a season. I think he's capable of doing that. Million. There are reasons why you could. There are solid arguments for him, the way things has gone for him, really. Since the players are underperforming, how would finding a new manager help this out? Oh, it has happened. At least for a starter, there's something called a new manager bounce.
Does it all the time.
Yeah. So a new man, not all the time, but again, a new manager can make a difference, if that makes sense. If we find a replacement for Potter and the same results carry on, can we just keep repeating sacking Geffers? No, that's not the argument here, but I get where you're coming from. I'm all for it. I even wrote an article on trustedperspective.com, if you go check it, where I said we were not able to achieve dominance due to hiring and firing managers. And that's the truth. And I've also come to I've argued that everything we want under Roman, forgive me, Roger, came in patches. For using the term patches, came bit by bit. That's because you fire manager, the other manager comes in, will need a season or two to get his own players in before he wins something. And that's why every 2 years we win something, the other 2 years we suffer a bit or something like that, if that makes sense.
Actually, Coach,
the manager,
it was every 2 out of 3 years we won multiple trophies.
Yeah, something similar like that. So if you keep a manager for a long time, I think we'll do better. Yeah, I know it's the truth. Glenn, he's having a conversation there. Let's see. It says, do you think we should be judging players under Potter because he's missing, he's mismanaging our players? I wouldn't say he's mismanaging the players. The issue is beyond that, really. I don't know how else to phrase it, but I don't think we should judge anybody. I don't think. Left for me, I was arguing we shouldn't judge Graham Potter until the end of season. But to me personally, what I'm seeing, I don't think we need to give him to the end of the season. It could get worse. That's just my argument. After this thing.
So I had a phone call.
Sorry?
I had a phone call.
Oh, okay, that's important. After yesterday, his name was Cobra. So I thought I was hyping him, and I called him Cobra the snake. And he said, no, coach, that's a violation. Now he's Panda. And I'm being careful not to call him something else. I think the players are more uninspired after the Southampton defeat. They were expecting the hairdryer treatment, but Potter gave them 2 days off. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can argue that Pulisic always be injured. Zidane, where the supporters of Toko. Let me join call. If you want to join call, you have to first of all, again, message me via Twitter, and then I'll send you that. I don't want to share the link in the chat today because the link is coming from the group. The Beautiful Game got problems with Nick Blue. Message him directly, he said. What?
Oh my God, Nick Blue.
Okay, it's time for players like Police. Too many injuries. Okay, let's see what we have here. Simon said today on TalkSport, the only passenger this Chelsea team is carrying right now as a passenger is Graham Potter.
Yes.
Okay. Again, Mr. Polito Way. Roger has many excuses, real or imagined, that these owners have given for our current form. Can you really trust us some second-hand info given to a talking head about the Tuchel? Wow.
Well, actually, it's first-hand, technically. So.
Okay. Let's see. Again, correction. Simon said today on TalkSport, why are you guys carrying us back and forth? The only person this team is carrying right now as a passenger is Graham, but it's the same thing. It doesn't differ. I think we understood that from reading what you said. So no problem trying to repeat it. We need to bring him back in 2025. You might as well prepare to buy PSG, if that makes sense.
Can I ask something, Coach? Can I ask something? And I want to ask everyone on the panel, because I don't see it. I can't see where it's coming from. Like when we play our next game, which is Leeds, obviously, where do you see us scoring from?
We're gonna win. We're gonna beat Leeds.
But what,
no,
own goals?
Rodrigo, no. The last time you said he had
it was shut up, Rodrigo.
Don't say that.
Last Rodrigo. Time I think the script was for this week. That's because they're both playing white.
Yellow card.
When I saw the vision
for Rodrigo, giving any bloody
Roger, I'm going to tell you. I saw in my vision. I saw a team wearing a white tops, right? And we beat that team. That's the vision I had.
Prediction, we end up suffering. Yellow card, mate, and that's your final warning.
Rodrigo, please do not ever say you see us winning a match again.
Every time you said it, we lose.
Don't say that again. He was so sure we were going to beat. What was the last thing we played?
I can't remember.
Broken clock is right. Is at least correct twice a day.
No, but see, yeah, I know exactly. But seriously, where do you see us scoring from?
The attack is capable of scoring if they practice very well and for a bit of luck, you can't argue.
I think
with a bit of luck we can score.
For us, they're very open.
Yeah, that's true. They always have.
At least that's what you think. Liverpool was very open too.
Yeah, we are not.
Yeah.
No one's on form. No one is being clinical. Our number one scorer this whole calendar year, I believe, is Kai Havertz with 2 goals, if I'm not mistaken. It's like I'm just befuddled. This is the one thing that that really gets me is, usually when a team is playing poorly, there's at least 1 or 2 players that can contribute goal-wise every now and then. I don't see anyone contributing. Especially aerially, at corners, there's nothing. I don't see, unless there's a deflection or whatever, you can't rely on that.
All right. Let me catch up. Yeah, go ahead.
That's what worries me. That's all I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Let me catch up with the chat and quickly so we can discuss the final item. We don't even have too much time to cover everything we have. I think I've caught some type of disease from watching Chelsea. You deal with it. Please don't tell me about it. Maybe the new owners really are part of the problem. I never liked the fact that Petr Cech just left like that. Did you think he left like that? Probably there's something he saw he didn't like. There's something I'm sure others that left saw that they didn't like. So, but let's not get into that. But big up to you, Glenn. Once more, I have to say I'm so sorry. I apologize for missing your birthday because I wanted to do is make a special video for you. And it doesn't actually take me too much time to make it, but I totally forgot about it. And you had told me about it somehow, and I forgot. But I sincerely do apologize, brother. Much love to you. Of course, every fish stinks from its head. Yep. Deals. I think Deals is just a messenger. Maybe this is just a messenger. But again, you guys should sort it out there. I don't see any goals from us in the Leeds game. If he starts Vats up front, that's one argument I can agree with. I hope Leeds and Dortmund do us a favor and. No. That's not okay, really. But that's your opinion. But as a fan, Chelsea is the entity I support, I will never go that far because that could mean us finding ourselves in relegation battle, just losing 3 points again in the league. If that makes sense. Also, yeah, please don't. Just think about it. Really, your team suffers. Otis Maxwell, we will win a possession 70-30, and at least that's something winnable. I don't want to say that. Coach, if I'm a football prophet, I am prophesizing Potter sacked on Sunday after losing to Leeds, Zidane in on Monday.
No comment.
No comment. Smash the like button, people. We need just 8 more likes to get it to 100 likes. And thank you to Wally Wado for becoming a member today. That goes a long way. And if you can, it costs $2.99 to become a member. Priorities, and I'm working on a specific show for members strictly. If you want to be part of that, but the Blue Morning Show will still remain delicious, and I will still try the best I can to get your comment as much as I can. But yeah, members will get a bit of special treatment, but everybody's equal here. The same. I think if Potter starts Alba and Sterling, we can get a draw against Leeds United or even win. Sterling showed good form. I think maybe he's regained his form. Maybe he'll make a difference. We don't know, but we'll find out. Relegation battle, that's life. Yeah, you get that. But let's move on from that.
Ouch, Glenn. Ouch.
To me, this is one of the best news ever for me because the day we talked about his form, his intelligence as a player, how good he's shown he can be on the ball, I said we don't need Vardy. They're the same age, aren't they? And to me, probably because Vardy went to the World Cup, probably have played more. You could say more high-profile games than him because in Bundesliga and all that. That's why people think Vardy is better. But I'm not going to get into the argument as to which of the 2 players is better than the other. I think this is a player we need to bring back come next season. No need of spending that much money on Vardy, or it wouldn't make any sort of sense. And we're in a situation where we have to be careful how much you spend. Otherwise, we'd be in serious trouble. I don't know if that makes sense. But that's, by the way, this one next year. If you're on the panel, Roger, if you want to talk about any of the ones I'm highlighting, you go ahead and you let me know. This one here says Manchester City want to sign Chelsea 28-year-old Croatian midfielder Mateo Kovacic. According to N26-year-old English left back Ben Chilwell in the summer. According to Fabrizio Romano, he said Chelsea hasn't made any decision yet as to what to do with Mateo Kovacic. I think we should keep him. He's not a prolific goal scorer. He's not a prolific chance creator, but he has something that he brings to the team that is very rare. I'm just going to keep preaching that. As much as I hate him or love him, he hasn't scored 1,000 goals or 1,000,000 goals, but he's the only player that plays when we play against teams that press us aggressively or teams that defend deep. He's the only one that usually stands out because of his ability to navigate tight spaces and all that. Go ahead, Roger. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, to be honest with you, when you look at what he contributes, he doesn't have blazing speed. He's not blessed with huge size. You know, he doesn't score goals. He doesn't contribute with assists, you know. But then again, when you watch him play, he provides a lot. He turns on the ball very well. You're right. When he's pressed, he does the things that what I would call are intangibles, things that statistics can't measure. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't need a dictionary for that one. Thank you for breaking it down.
I didn't mean it in that context, but I'm just saying that there's so many things that, this guy.
No. I like it when you break it down. So for others too, not me. We have lots of people that their language isn't English isn't their first language.
And you can have a look at like when you're bringing up statistics on a player. Guess what? The things that he does for us in a positive way cannot be measured by statistics. That's all I want to say. I rate him highly. Listen, you don't get to be, I was about to say, hired by Real Madrid if you're no good. It's that simple. He was with Real Madrid for how many years? True, he didn't start in any of the finals, but still, he's technical. His first touch is usually sublime. He possesses, in my opinion, far more positives attributes than negative attributes, in my opinion. Should he be scoring more? Should he be creating more? Yes, no doubt about it. But I think he's a proven commodity, and at the very least, we should keep him for depth. At the very least.
Yeah, and I think we should. Even because to me, I get it. We tried pairing him with Enzo. I think two of them are actually a bit like each other, except one is a better dribbler, the other is more defensively solid than the other. So it would make sense to keep him. Enzo cannot play every game.
No.
And in terms of
I watched the last game 2 nights ago, I think it was. Yeah, it wasn't last night; it was the night before. And you know, one thing that stuck out about Enzo was, you know, he looked leggy. You know, he's not been blessed with speed ever, but he looked even slower than normal. You know, he looked very leggy. He looked tired.
Yeah, I sincerely do agree with you. This one, I noticed a losing attitude from rivals, and we don't want it. We want it to win no matter what. That's why I want him to be a bit pragmatic. Other free managers are saying we can do better than this Potter guy. Well, they'd be saying that if you want to see it from that perspective. But the truth is, we can be doing better than we're doing right now. And Chimera, I haven't seen you in a while. Please do let me know how you're doing. We need how many more likes? Just 6 more likes to get it to 100 likes. I appreciate all the support. Let's get it there as soon as possible. Yeah, I agree with you. Potter in so that the PlayStation fans can suffer some more and hopefully understand that youth projects do not deliver trophies. It has to be balanced, but I don't think this is necessarily. Would you consider this a youth project? I'm not sure, but we get into the argument another time. Potter has the same excuse every week. We did our best. We played well. Hell not to something. I think to something. What is that? Stats is what you get paid. What gets you paid? A City can have coverage of a Rodri, maybe if they can allow us. But here's maybe let's see what the club does. I would keep Kovacic and sell Chilwell.
What do you think of
Chilwell? It depends on who you ask. Here's the thing. I think one of the left back has to go if we really want to bring back Ian Maatsen. Because if you try to convince Ian Maatsen to sign an extension, would he agree to sign an extension and stay on loan? I'd say no. He's enjoying himself where he is right now under the Belgium, former Belgium international Man City defender Vincent Kompany. He's doing really well. Vincent Kompany can actually convince him to sign for them on a permanent if they get promoted. So before we contract, you have to show him the path. And part of showing him the path will be we have to lose one of the left backs. So maybe Man City, they know what they're doing. They know probably the difficult to get us to sell one of those. And if we're done, they can go for Ian Maatsen, and they have a connection there in Vincent Kompany himself.
Of course. A huge connection, coach.
Yeah, exactly. Connection. So if you think about it, let's see what happens. Kovacic is one of the most technical player we have. He's also one of the best at breaking opposition press. Exactly. And that's something every team needs. And he's the only player that does it for us. Enzo is isolated constantly, chasing the ball, playing alongside Loftus-Cheek must be painful. Loftus-Cheek, he's a makeshift midfielder. No matter how you say it, he's deep line midfielder. He's not a deep line midfielder by default. And unfortunately for him, I prayed, just give him a chance in the 8th position. Believe me, he will get you goals and he will create chances for him. He's a player I know that well to argue that. 600 million and still no spine. The incompetence is relentless. Wow. It was better to send me 600 million. Good luck. Send your account to him. Hell not to cover and Chile to City. Believe me, cover will ball on that. He will ball on that.
Yes. Yeah.
And he will ball on the pep. They can have Sterling back, Lukaku and have if they give us Haaland.
Here.
Here indeed. I heard rumors about us getting Alvarez from Man City. That's one. I think that you could say that's. Is there anything like a suggestive reporting? Because we heard that they want covers it. Some are suggesting they give us Alvarez and report. I think that's where that came from. The Mon was nice to see you. Thank you so much. Nice to see that you're enjoying it. Richard Evans, hello, coach. As an owner manager, you have to prepare for this, for the possibility of losing games. It's a reality. The question will be how many and what cost, again, at what cost? Yeah, there's a club standing with the club standing will they put up with, and I think they are exhausted right now. Fans defending Enzo, they fall in love because he is handsome. You always say that, but I'm going to move on from that one. Do you know why Batman Badiashile didn't play against Sports? He looks shaky from, again, the game before. I don't know. Maybe I honestly don't know. Again, why is Potter rotating when he hasn't won a single match an entire month? What is Boehly seeing that the fans cannot see? I don't know. Maybe how much it will cost to let the man go. It's as simple as that. I'd take Alvarez. I would too. Honestly, Ruben Losik has disappointed me the most. I really thought he would be Yaya Touré, but his footballing IQ is just. I disagree with you.
Yeah, he's playing out of position.
I think he's an excellent footballer. He's a very intelligent player, but he's a victim of his own versatility, if that makes sense. Boehly prepared by drinking and being hungover the day of the match. Wow. Nkunku coming, guys, is coming, and he makes us better. I saw a picture of him holding something like a drink in his hand, but I think it's photoshopped or so. Roger, you wanted to add anything to this so we can catch up and go?
Yeah, my question to you is, what do you think of Chilwell?
I think he's a fine player. I think
he
was unlucky when he recovered from the last that long-term injury he had. When he was starting to come back to show that form he showed before that long-term injury, he had the setback, which is another long-term injury that hasn't helped. But go ahead, just give me a minute, I'll be back.
Yeah, so I saw an interesting stat. I think while the game was going on, Chilwell and Reece started their third game in their last 50 for Chelsea. So that tells you something about how injury riddled we've been in the last 50 games. That's quite sad, to be honest with you. I have mixed feelings about Chilwell, coach. I really do. I think he passes back way too much, but he's not a bad crosser of the ball, but defensively he can be lost sometimes. I don't know. I think we bought him for 50 or so million, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Chile? You mean Chilwell?
Yeah.
No, not up to that. Not up to that, really.
It wasn't 50, was it?
No,
I thought
it wasn't
we
up
paid
to that.
50 for him, but I could be wrong. But I just, coach, I don't know. I expected more from him. Let's just put it that way. And to be honest with you, and I get it, and I do understand the injuries. You know, I get that. That's a huge factor in confidence and all kinds of things. But also Cucurella, and I get it. He's new to the club and had two managers, but he hasn't exactly exceeded my expectations either. I'm worried about that position, to be honest with you. On paper, it looks really good, but it's not, coach. It's not good.
It's not. It's not indeed. I'm back there. Listen, what we have here. I completely agree. Ruben loves his chick football like he isn't top level. I don't agree with you. He's been played out of position. Chilwell is always better as a wing back. That's the truth. No weed a player with more pace and strength on left back. Chilwell. Okay, let's see. We need, so to speak, again. I'd rather have Chilwell starting than Cucurella. Chile just gets injured too often, and it's concerning. Really hasn't helped. It was 50. Was it really? Okay,
Yeah,
thank you for correcting that. Okay, the Chelsea boy 1, 2, 3. Chilwell at least provides attacking force. Cucurella provides nothing but poor crosses. Let's see, it's been Chile and Walmart Cinderella. I'd much rather Chile. Bobby, go ahead if you wanted to add something. We have just about how many minutes? About 6-7 minutes to round off. Go ahead. And I have to get some updates on the screen. And quickly, Raheem
I
Sterling
was
has
thinking
said
he can't
he's
hear
not
me.
looking to leave Chelsea anytime soon. So
Damn.
forget the rumors you're hearing. Go ahead, Bobby.
I think after the Juventus injury,
Yeah,
Chilwell hasn't been the same player, and I don't
I agree.
know if he ever will. He can't beat his man anymore. Defensively, I'm not sure where he is. He's getting beaten a lot.
Mhm.
Offensively, he still offers something, but not consistently.
Did we
You
lose
there,
him? Roger,
Bobby?
can you still hear me?
No,
Can you hear
no,
me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
no.
I just think it's somewhere, it is a position like both of you I'm very concerned about. I think they need to consider it very deeply. But you see, this is the thing. Well, we brought all these people, Winston Lee, Lawrence, um, Vival. This is where they earn their peanuts, isn't it, really? They should
Yep.
be solving these problems. I don't know why, as a fan base, we're seeing this and we're in a terrible position where we can't actually even do anything about it. And these people that can do something about it don't seem to be responsive. Okay, fair enough. They need to get to the summer first, but I want to see some bold responses. Yeah, if the answer is to move him on, then move him on and bring in Matson. If you've studied Matson enough to believe he's capable of doing that job for Chelsea. What I'm more interested in, as far as Man City is concerned, is Julian Alvarez. I think we can boldly go for that player. We need a centre forward. They have two. He is in a position of misfortune in that he's behind Haaland.
He's an understudy.
I
Yeah.
don't think he'll be happy now to be playing number two. Sometimes they play together, but that's rare. And I think he will jump at a chance to move. City are trying to get him to extend his contract. I don't think he should. I think he should come to Chelsea. I think Chelsea should go and start talking to Man City. Instead of listening to them, going to the media, harping on about Kovacic and the like,
And if we go to them, they
Chilwell,
would want a
maybe.
player in return, most likely.
Yeah, then they can have Chilwell if that's the case. I would definitely do that deal for Alvarez. I think he's a very good striker.
Do
I
you
think
think
he'll help us a lot.
Bobby? Do you think Chilwell? His issue is psychological / subconscious because of the injury and how he had to come back and recover for it.
It's very possible, but we've had so much of this with returning injured players. Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's still our player, remember?
Yeah.
Ruben Loftus-Cheek to a certain extent, although I think some of the criticism laid on him is very ill-informed.
Yeah, it's
Very,
unfounded.
very. I don't know what they're watching. Whether they're watching Twitter or watching the games. I don't.
Yeah, it's
I don't know where
unfounded,
they.
Bobby.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we have enough of that. And if there is a deal to be had, and if Matson is as good as people say, you see, I believe I've watched the Premier League long enough to understand some of the things that have never changed since the inception and the transition from the old Division One. That has
Mhm.
always been a bedrock of the English game, your physicality. If you don't have it in terms of your size, you must have the tenacity. Now, can Matson, because Matson's a very little guy, can he, with his size, cope in the Premier League? That's always been my question around him. These guys, the Premier League is such a well-studied environment. The opposition look for any and every single yardstick of
The
weakness.
Championship is quite physical, though, Bobby.
It is, but in terms of exploiting the
Sure.
mastery of the game, I just have nightmares of teams looking at him and thinking, right, that's his deficiency. Let's
Yeah.
be lobbing high balls that way. It's like with Kepa. Teams have clearly studied him and they said, right, his deficiency is his size in the goal. go for it, top bins every time.
Yep.
And they do that, they go for it, and they are quite successful with it. And I just that's my concern with Maatsen. Now, you may say Chilwell isn't much bigger, but Chilwell is very experienced, and that you have to give to him. He's been in the Premier League long enough to know how to weather that deficiency. There's certain people that know how to use their size, their height deficiencies correctly. I remember Graham Lasso. He wasn't very tall, but boy, was he a fantastic left back, because he knew how to position himself. Same with Ashley Cole. He wasn't that tall,
That's
but
true,
boy, was he
actually. Yeah.
fantastic. So is Maatsen of that ilk? I don't know. And this is where I look to your Vivals and your Winstonleys and your Lawrence. Are you studying these guys? Are you studying them on their loan? Talk to us. You teach us, not us teach you. Do you know what I'm saying? I just
Listen,
it's
they just basically moved into their offices, right? They're basically, for all intents and purposes, and I knew they're settling in. It's going to take time for them, but you're right,
yeah.
though. They do need to start earning their keep. They really do, because they should, by definition, be the difference makers to this organization,
I
mid
mean,
and long
don't get me
term.
wrong. They've made some ripples. We've got Santos. We've got Fofana,
Sure, sure.
Declan Fofana. We've got the right back. What's his name?
Yeah, from
Mario
Lyon or
From
Basile.
whatever.
Leon.
All
Yeah,
right, guys.
Gustos,
I'm running
Gustos
out
or
of time, but
something.
go ahead. I'll let you guys drop.
Can you hear
Sorry.
me?
Yeah, we can
Whenever
hear
I
you.
get an incoming call, it cuts me out. So yeah, we've but they're not doing badly, but it's key things like that I'm looking for that would really impress me. If they suddenly this summer turned around and said, right, of our two left backs, we're getting rid of one, and we've got faith in Maatsen, and they prove to be right, then I'm like, wow, okay, we've certainly got these guys on our side, which is a tough call. It's a very tough call. But I think it might be a necessary call. Certainly the Julian Alvarez thing, I want to see it. And this is why we have to stay not only in a healthy Premier League position, but probably try and at least do something in the Champions League, because it will only encourage these guys to come to us. I don't know, I am really keen on Alvarez. I had this discussion with somebody on a platform to some extent as to the pros of this guy. I think he would solve a lot of our attacking problems, and he will come into Chelsea thirsty. He will be thirsty. This guy will want to show his qualities, and with his national teammate Enzo there, wow.
All right. Let me catch up here so we can call it a day. Thank you for this. Chile and Reese will thrive better in the back three, that's for sure. He's sort of wasting them at the moment, especially Reese. I think there's a reason for that, but I'm not going to get into that argument today. It's an old SK, was it again, left back. CFC have not helped him reach his potential due to injuries. He's talking about Chilwell, Enzo, and Alvarez together will be great. I don't think it will happen. Chilwell will be a better player on the Pep, you think? Let's see what happens. Why you want Alvarez? I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. We don't have too much time here. And Julian Alvarez will fit right in, but you can't get him. That's the thing. Last two games for Porter and he cannot play Silva. Looks like God don't want to see Porter stay. You could argue that because I think we'll be worse off without him. Bobby, name one contribution from Loftus-Cheek in the last couple of games. What does he do? Zakaria and Kovacic cannot. Here's the thing, the argument, he was deployed as a makeshift midfielder. And believe me, it wouldn't be okay to say, I don't think it's okay to say he hasn't done well in a makeshift position where he actually did do his best. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a tall guy. He hasn't scored a header. Where does he play? You have to start by answering that question in the first place. No one is hyping Loftus-Cheek, bro. You're tripping Let's see what else we have here. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. With that, we've come to the end of the show. And perfect hand construction. Please, I think you should focus on Potter out than discussing players now, because if Potter is sacked today, all those players you're talking about may stay. Okay, thank you for saying that. That's your contribution. Why didn't we get them before City did? I don't know. Why does it take too long to find this talent? I can't answer that either. Thiago Silva is the glue in the back line. The back line looks clueless without him. Even the entire team, he's that good. He can influence the team from the back line. And I'm not sure that the evening show today, I'll try to work it out because I have an error probably that will make it difficult for me to be able to make it. Maybe it starts very late, maybe earlier. I will find a solution to that. So if you're watching, thank you so much, Chimera. Thank you, Roger Pop. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you also to JC, who was on previously. And thank you to, who else did I miss? Am I missing anybody? Thank you to Chimera.
Rodrigo.
Thank you to Dix. Thank you to Bobrigo. Thank you to Perfect Construction. The Chelsea Boy 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you to Eugene Naughty, always here. Access Broski, lateness is greatness. Nice to see you. Who else am I missing here? And thank you to my brother Liam Lane, probably watching or not, but if you can hear me, thanks to you for all the support. Chelsea Boy, thanks to you. Who else? Glenn, thank you so much. Bobby Fairview, thank you. And Wally Waldo, thank you for becoming a member today. I appreciate that. And the beautiful game, thank you so much, brother. To everyone else, if I missed your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Cheers, coach.
Cheers, brother.